Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. As you see the thumbnail, we're going to review the fights. There is a good nugget to be had this weekend, and I'll talk about that, the upcoming fights, that is. And then we're going to mosey on into grown woman talk. I'm hoping the ladies can join me tonight. If not, we have to catch them next time. We supposed to have it last week. But we had a good show going. It was hard to interrupt that train. But first, let's turn to. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. Yeah, I was over here jamming yet again. As I said last week, we didn't do our grown woman talk today. We will do our grown woman talk. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Wipe your feet when you come up in the building. Okay. First, we want to send a shout out to Demetrius Bright is in the building already. Salute Queen T and fam. Salute to you too, King. And y'all know in the beginning of the show, I always do a water check. I don't know why that thing is blinking. See if I move this way. Oh, if I move that way. Okay. Got to stay on this left side. My left. But water check. This is my 12th bottle when I'm finished with it. And of course, I'm going to get through it by the end of the show. Throughout the week, we had some exciting news, or since last Friday, we had some great conversation and everything. But this weekend, we got a good little fight coming up. But water check. As I said, it's my 12th. You guys can chime in to tell me how much water you drink. Here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we shoot for 100 ounces of water per day. A gallon is 128. You guys already know that. But we shoot for at least 100 ounces per day. And I always say, drink 8 ounces of water before you lay it down to go to sleep. Like, as you about to get in the bed and lay it down, go on and take a swig. When you get up in the morning, first thing, go on and take a swig. 8 ounces. Get the engine going. I said rowing. Going, and get everything lube and ready to go for the day. But do shoot for as much water as you can. I say a realistic goal maybe is 100 ounces. If you can get to 100 ounces, you can get to a gallon. but you got to be diligent about drinking your water. Now, if you still want to drink coffee, tea, soda, by all means, but do it after you get your water intake for the day. And real talk, I can't even do this, but I'm shooting. That is a goal. I can't do this just yet, but that is one of my goals, and that is to be able to drink, my 100 ounces or possibly get to 128 by midday, like maybe between 12 and 2. It can be done. It really can be done. I don't know how yet, but it can be done. It's all I could do to get to this much by this time every day, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Well, I had some news I didn't get the report earlier through the week, so excuse me if it sounds repetitive because you might have heard it somewhere else. But Eddie Hearn is ruling out top fighters for Conor Benn. Why do we bring up Conor Benn? Eddie Hearn has Conor Benn as his equivalent or answer to what was Top Rank's Bud Crawford and what is PBC's Errol Spence. I don't think that he can be mentioned in the same breath as a Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. Sorry, no disrespect to Conor Benn, but you're not even nowhere near on that level. You try to judge people by their content of their character, like how their character is outside the ring. A little bit, only when it's concerning boxing. What he doing is private. I don't care, but the way he's moving in these boxing streets doesn't sound like the goal that he has set or the goals that they tell us about him is valid or whatever. Why I say that? Because Conor Benn has been calling out AB. For those of you who are casuals, that watch me, especially on my Facebook, AB is Adrian Broner, professional fighter. He hasn't declared specifically that he's retired, but he's kind of like semi-retired. AB hasn't fought in a while. He's dealing with a lot of stuff, mental or just personal stuff, and he hasn't fought in a couple of years. So, and AB wasn't really suited for 147. I'm not gonna say he's not a good 147. He just wasn't suited. We all know in the boxing world that once he took a loss with Maidana, which I still think it was some fishy about that. Once he took that loss, he has never been the same since. The problem that we have with AB, but yet a lot of us still vote for him, or pulling for him in the ring, is that he don't throw his hands. And I know for myself, and I'm gonna speak for myself, but I'm sure a lot of other boxing fans feel the same way. When AB is in the ring, in your mind, because you've seen him at work, you've seen the greatness he can display. You're like, AB, you could do this. You could do this. For some reason, this man won't throw his hands. He don't even he throws them more towards the end of the fight. And you be saying to yourself, well, if you had 15 rounds, maybe you could turn it around. I don't know if his lackluster in the beginning is due to him not being the same mentally, because boxing is mentally and something. And AB is not a shy guy, and he's a money generator, and he's very arrogant, or was very arrogant, very conceited, like. And I don't know if his ego or his pride was damaged that much that he could never recover. I can't say he can never recover. But suffice to say, in the last couple of years or handful of years since he fought Maidana, he really ain't been the same. And I mean, I've watched fights, excuse me, where I'm looking at the TV ready to throw something at it, like throw your hands. I mean, and if I was a betting person, I called the fight every time he fight for him. I would be like, he got this one. But he never throw his hands. So if Conor Benn is calling this guy out, do you really want to be champion? It begs the question: do he really want to be champion? Do he even see himself on the level of a Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford? And now I gotta say Yordenis Ugas, because he has the belt. Conor Benn proclaims he wants to be champion. He likes to, tout himself as the top welterweight. But that's Eddie Hearn's answer to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And I don't take Conor Benn seriously if he's calling out AB. One, because AB, for all intents and purposes, somebody can make an argument that he's semi-retired. You could say that because they haven't been fighting. Now AB has proclaimed that he wants to come back, and he's looking around March to do so. We have to wait and see. Also, AB has proclaimed that he will not be fighting at the 147 division. So, Conor Benn, if that's your division, why would you call out AB? That's one reason why you can't take his call out seriously. Then I'm hearing Maurice Hooker now. He fought Granados. He fought Adrian. What's his name? Not Adrian. Algieri. Now, when he fought Granados, Granados, gave him a little competition. Nothing bad. I don't mean no harm or disrespect. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Talking about Adrian Granados, he's an excellent fighter, but he has had a stroke of bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. Adrian Granados is a Mexican, so that makes him a Mexican fighter. He's American though. But Adrian Granados did not grow up typically where most Mexicans live or grow up. He grew up in Chicago. He's kind of different in his character and the way he approached fights. He fights you. He adheres to the sweet science. He likes to rumble. He is a dog. But one could argue that Adrian Granados is at the tail end of his career, or at least over the hump. There's the decline is starting to happen. No fault of his own. He's been in the game for a long time, and it's to be expected when you get a certain age, like early 30s, 32, 33, 34. Some people can exist beyond that in this boxing world. Like look at Floyd Mayweather. Everybody can't do it. So we can't put that jacket on Adrian Granados, but we definitely can say he ain't a spring chicken, and he gave Conor Benn hell. Hauling with Harry. Salute, King. He says, salute, Miss T. Great content. Thank you, King. Welcome to the building. So Granados gave him a good fight. And I think if he'd have caught a younger Granados, I think that fight would have went differently. Who else he fought? Algieri. Come on, we knew what was gonna happen with Algieri. No disrespect to Algieri, but to me, he's kind of like in the has-been category. That's what he's kind, because the has-been that never was. How about that? I mean, I'm being a straight shooter. Algieri, I don't know why his name was notable. He was remarkable in the fact that he was a fighter, he is a fighter. And he also went to college at the same time. Now, in boxing, is one of them sports or one of those things you can't serve two masters. When you hear people say you can't serve two masters, like you can't be the president, a senator, or congressman, and then be dabbling over here. Something got to give. In boxing, the grueling regimen that these guys and girls put themselves through, how do you be a great dad or a husband? For that matter, mother. I don't know how people do it, but suffice to say, under that grueling regimen, you're not going to be great at one of those. You're not going to be the greatest dad and do everything ideally and be the greatest boxer. And you can't be the greatest boxer and be the greatest dad and husband. So something got to give, or go to school for that matter. And so when I think about Algieri, he was dabbling in both. He was doing his boxing, which is grueling enough, while going to college. Anybody who's going to college know that regimen alone is difficult and time consuming. And he actually got a degree. I think he got his master's. I think he went all the way up to his master's. In fact, so shout outs to Algieri. but I will classify him as a has-been that never was. D-Ray is in the building. He said, salute, Miss T. Blessings, Queen. Blessings to you too, King. He says, subscribe, like, share on all platforms. Indeed, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please hit the like button when you come in. But, I don't know. What do you guys think? I've just talked about two fighters Conor Benn has just, recently, since last year, I think, fought, which is Adrian Granados and Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri, to me, like I said, his notoriety to me is the fact that he was, why I give him props, I'm gonna say, is because he went to school and he got his bachelor and master's, and boxing was a supplemental income for him. And that shit right there, I gotta give him his props. But in doing so, he lost a lot of valuable time. He wasn't that young when he got into when we started noticing who he was. He can serve as a great commentator. There's room for him in the sport. He could be a trainer. I'm not saying this man don't know his boxing. He knows how to box, but you could tell he didn't give it his all in boxing, and he couldn't, not doing the other things he was doing. So these are the people that Conor Benn has faced recently. And to call out AB, who's kind of semi-retired, to think that you get props for fighting the Chris Algieri, I don't know where that come from. And I'm not trying to down him, but come on, and that you already go into the fight knowing you're gonna win that one. But Adrian Granados, oddly enough, gave him a good little match. Now, what do Conor Benn has going for himself? He's young. He's got he got power, he got pop, and he's hungry. He's a relentless kind of fighter. But I think the same things that he got going for himself would be the things that derail him. D-Ray said he used boxing more than boxing used him. Who you talking about, Chris Algieri? Okay. Okay. He definitely couldn't give it his all, though. It served a purpose. If it gave him the supplemental income that he needed to get through school, hey, I ain't mad at him. You know what I'm saying? D-Ray said yes. I mean, it's what's needed. But I mean, I remember when I was getting my degree, oh, that was like 3-4 nights. I remember I ain't getting no sleep. And it be like that. Like literally stayed up 3 days straight trying to make a deadline. It get like that. And that was my undergrad. So I can't even imagine, you know, what he probably went through to get his master's. I've started my master's. I ain't finished. But I can't even imagine what all he had to do and box at the same time. Telling you, I can't even give you an equivalent that the average layperson will even know to show you how hard that can be. Because boxing is like, there are people, if you think about Jarrett Hurd had an agreement with his family that he stayed at home while he trained to be the greatest. When he trained to be a boxer and win these championships, he stayed at home. In doing so, he saved money. I'm sure he had some little piece of job, but until the money started coming in for him, he couldn't really give much to his family or help out. He postponed marriage, all that stuff, till he got on his feet, and it took a while. And that's how grueling boxing can be. But like I said, with Conor Benn, he they talking about fighting Avanesian and Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Like that, people are saying that could be a good match that could show us that you're moving in the right direction. Again, if you're a boxer and you're interested in or interested in becoming a boxer, we need to know as the fans. It's only fair to let us know this. If you want a championship, and do you want to get a unification belt, and after that, do you want to become undisputed? That's our Super Bowl in boxing. So if you're not with that, if you're for a money grab, I think that you owe it to the fan as a boxer to let us know. Sometimes we can look at you and give you a pass and be like, He's on a money grab, you know. That's cool. I ain't mad at you too much. And I usually feel like that when a person's career is pretty much over, but there's still a name, they still can give you some good work, but you just, you just want a little paycheck. I get it. I can deal with that. I can almost have rocked with Mikey Garcia and his quest because we know Mikey Garcia's on the campaign to earn the check. That's it. He's trying to get paid, but he did some dirty moves. He had a commitment from Regis Prograis. They were all about to get the fighting, and he cherry picked and got the most money off a cherry pick of somebody we didn't even know, but it was a cherry pick that went wrong. Because see, if he fought Regis, it's possible he could have lost that fight. But the guy he picked, he was assured, at least in his mind, that he was going to win that fight, and they gave him $7 million for that to fight somebody we don't know. It wasn't the largest. It was in Carson, California, I think. Wasn't the biggest venue, and it was like an embarrassment. But you think Mikey ain't gonna take no fights? See, that would be a good fight for Conor Ben. He's a name. He only got what, one loss on it? Well, two now, two losses on his record. Conor Ben is picking older guys, semi-retired guys, has-beens. That's who he's picking, but he's telling us at the same time that he want to be the greatest. He want to be the creme de la creme. His actions don't match that. That's all I'm saying. So, and my conclusion is he don't want to be champion. I can't take him seriously. You know what I'm saying? We are watching this as fans unfold, and there's people you could pick like Avanesian and Jerron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz that will make us as fans say, he's going in the right direction, but they're not picking that. So y'all have to be leery of people like that fight. This is when boxing disappoints you. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a good little fighter, talking about Conor Ben, but I give him more credit for his youth. He squares up way too many times for me. He believes his power is bigger than the average person or most people he get in the ring with. But if he was getting in the ring with Earl Spence, Earl will wash his ass, rinse him, dry him, and put him out the pasture. So would Terrence. Why? Because these guys got power and they just as relentless, but they're better boxers than he is. Anytime you give up the fundamentals just for a knockout, like every punch he throws. Now I give him the relentless factor because he is relentless, but that's because he's young. I don't care how much you try to get in shape. When you get older, you're not gonna be able to do that type of shit. So you better have something else in the tool bag. You know, he got to earn. He has to earn that position. I wrote some notes there, but he has to earn that position of top echelon fighter. It can't just be given to him. It can't be that every promoter, like if you name them all, Eddie Hearn, top rank, TGB, Golden Boy, Mayweather. It's not promised that all those promoters have to have them a 147-pound king. But Eddie feel like that's his. He feels that Conor is that for him. Conor been fighting for a while, so I don't want to make it seem like he a novice. But even with that, he's not that great. Not to me. Sure, he hit hard, and he's young enough to have energy. So Chris Algieri at 37, he wasn't gonna last longer than that dude. It was just a matter of time. And Chris Algieri, to me, is not fast. I'm hard pressed to see what he can offer these young guys in a match. But my question was, and I'm asking you in the chat, how does his actions or his movements prepare him for a fight with somebody like Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford? And I'm just throwing your Danis Ugas in there because he has a belt. But how does Conor Ben's action or the way Eddie Hearn is moving when it comes to him How does that prepare him to be a champion? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he's on the road to becoming a champion after all. I just can't see it. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat. Like, what are they doing? Because as far as where I'm sitting, they're trying to spruce him up and get him notoriety. He has no championship belt. I don't even think he's ranked in the top whatever of each sanctioning body, but that wouldn't matter. You ain't fought nobody. And you literally can say that. You literally can say that. I can't say he's fighting people that's in front of him. Earl didn't fight a whole lot of people, just like they'll say Bud didn't fight a lot of people. They got in common a couple of fighters on their resume, and Earl has one more in Danny Garcia. However, it's not like Earl hasn't been asking. He didn't reach back and say, "Let me fight AB," or "Let me fight." You know, he didn't appear to look like he said, "Let me fight somebody I know I can beat." You know, a lot of people didn't want to fight Earl neither. He had to have who he had in front of him. Damn sure, Terrence Crawford. A lot of people don't want to fight him. They don't want to see that monster. And Terrence, to me, fought who was ever put in front of him. And we can say that about both. Have I changed my mind about who ducking who? I have not. But I'm just saying, in general, when comparing them to somebody like a Conor Benn, there's no competition. I don't even think Conor Benn is worthy to be placed above Boots Ennis or Ortiz. What you guys think? You know, and like I said, it's all about how he made moves. You know, the fight with Algieri, the fight with Granados. He's asking for AB Hooker and Danny Garcia. Now, Danny Garcia, that is a good one, I think, because Danny is not a has-been. Danny has had a loss to Keith Thurman, yes. To Sean Porter, yes. To Errol Spence, yes. But Danny, we know he's a good fighter. He went up against some monsters. Danny, to me, if Danny, I don't know what he would have had to do more, but Sean Porter's pressure was way too much. Keith Thurman is a better boxer as far as his ring generalship and moving around the ring. Some people could call it running, but he moved around and he didn't give Danny a stationary target. I feel like Danny did not do enough when he fought Earl Spence. So I have to give it to Earl that whatever Earl was doing to him stifled him because we don't know why he didn't do much. Danny could have did a lot more than what he did, but he didn't. So you can ask the question why. Could have been the power of Spence, the relentless coming forward of Spence. Could it be that when Spence hit him, it hurt? You know what I'm saying? We'll never probably get the answer. Then Danny has come out and said out of all opponents he faced, who hits the hardest, and he gave that notoriety to Keith Thurman. But he couldn't do nothing with Earl. That's not Earl's fault. Earl did what he was supposed to when he fought Danny. But Danny just didn't do enough. And I'm thinking he could have. But if Conor Benn wants to know from a fan's perspective, and I don't speak for everybody, but I do think that we all can agree. If we don't, y'all let me know. The phone lines are open at 706-804-4449. That's 706-804-4449. Let me know in the chat. Beam in. Let me put the link in the chat. Is Danny Garcia a good match for Conor Benn? That's the question I want to know. Because I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, I think so. Danny is not washed up. Danny is talking about going to 154. But before he go to 154, why don't he fight Conor Benn? I mean, it's truly up to Danny. If he has designs to go into 154 like really bad, if he's at a point in his career where he cannot make the weight anymore, then he got to do what he got to do. I don't begrudge Danny. I don't think he's a coward or anything like that. But if he's protecting himself from getting another loss, then he's going about it the wrong way, because 154 division, that those niggas in that division, that's a beast division. Everybody in there can do the damn thing. And I sit here and unless y'all know somebody or can name somebody, only person I think that Danny could actually have a chance with at the 154 division is Erickson Lubin. Why? Erickson Lubin is a great fighter. He can fight, he can box really well, but he definitely don't have a chin. And I don't think that's speculation. You know, he will have to be on his P's and Q's whenever he fighting anybody, not just Danny. I believe Bud could knock out Erickson Lubin. And Erickson Lubin, from what I hear, is tremendous talent in the gym, out the gym, you know, like in the ring especially. But the dude got a chin. Well, everybody got a chin, but his chin is definitely suspect. And that's not cap. So I could see Danny competing with him. J Rock can find himself in trouble sometimes, but I think that that'll be a good match with Danny and J Rock. If J Rock makes a mistake, Danny will make him pay. Who else at 154? I do not see Danny beating Charlo. Do not see him. Castellano, I do not know, because styles do make fights. And maybe sometimes a person's style can be difficult, like Castellano is difficult for Charlo. You definitely saw the difficulty there. But Castellano could be easy for somebody else. He's another fighter who seemed like he do away with the fundamentals. I should never be looking at a boxing match of somebody who's a professional and been doing it for a while and they consistently square up. That I can never understand. It's not a winning strategy. You know, it's almost like a flaw, but it might be something that they do to their advantage. They may have to feel, or they may feel like they gotta stand like they stand to get their point across, you know, to get their licks in. But squaring up is squaring up. So Dan, you know, and plus Danny punches with you, so he can catch you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. You know, but Conor Benn, um, Danny Garcia is still a name. And I think Danny, maybe Danny will go to England, but he definitely can have a fight here. Danny still can bring some good numbers in. Even if you offer it on Showtime, that would be a good weekend for boxing fans. He could do the fight, I believe, if he worked hard. If he get enough time, he can make 147. See, I'm talking for Danny like I know him. I'm thinking he can make 147, but that remains to be seen. We have to hear that from Danny's mouth. If Danny said, I cannot make 147 again, we just have to accept it. But I think that I'm hoping that Danny could, and that would be a good fight for Danny. And I actually got Danny winning in a fight with Conor Benn. What you guys think? You know, Danny's coming off a loss to Errol Spence. So Conor Benn would be a shiny penny, right? Because he's Eddie's, you know, little nugget at 147. So that would be like a nice little win for Danny. It'll definitely get his mojo going and get him coming back in the fold. Sean Porter's out there, you know, he's retired. Sean Porter was trouble for anybody because he's relentless too. But he's awkward, he's rugged, and he's a pressure fighter. He puts unbearable pressure on you. And so you don't have to contend with that. You fight Conor Benn, you knock him out the runnings, then you go fight Ortiz or Boots. Now Ortiz, I think Danny could beat, you know, because Danny can take a punch. But what y'all think about that? These ideas I'm kicking around. I'm hoping that they Team Garcia or somebody in boxing is listening. Now, hold on one second. What would y'all tell me? Feel free to call in and hit the link if you want. We're getting real close to grown woman talk, so um, we're about to roll into that pretty soon. And here's the thing: I could say the same thing about Mikey Garcia. If Conor Ben is going to fight somebody of note, he needs to look at two people, in my opinion. Four. But we know he's not going to even try to get with Jerron or Ortiz, which would be great wins for them. It's a good fight, but they don't want to risk the loss because that's all Eddie has in the 147 division is Conor Ben. But Danny and Mikey Garcia, that's a good fight. That's going to make money. You will get paid well because that's Eddie's boy. That's his top dog at 147. And Eddie is really trying to build him. That's Eddie Hearn to the casual. Please hit the like button when you come in. For those in the Facebook, come on into the your YouTube and hit the live icon and get up in here and smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. But what y'all think? Call in, let a sister know. Because right now, I gotta say, Conor Ben is looking real suspect in these boxing streets. He just is. Sorry. He just is. But anywho, y'all let me know. Now, we got the upcoming fight tomorrow. I can't remember who was all on the card. Let me see if I can get that pulled up. Y'all probably already know. But we're gonna have Max Sale, who is a Pacquiao fighter, against Gary Russell, who hasn't fought in a couple of years. Now, it's a real thing to worry about the fact that Gary Russell has been inactive, but we know the story behind that. Gary Russell to the casuals, y'all, that's a good one. That's a good one you might want to see. But he's been inactive because, according to him, he didn't want to build up a resume of a bunch of fugazi ass fights. So he decided to take the road of just facing his mandatories. So that means he get one fight a year. But sometimes, I think last year he didn't even have a fight. So hold on, let me go up into this fight. Yeah, we got mix. It's tomorrow at 9 p.m. on Showtime. So if you have Showtime, you can catch that fight. It's gonna be Russell Jr. will defend his title. He's also the longest reigning champion in a while. He's gonna be fighting Mark Magsayo, trying to look for the undercard. Ananyan and Matthias. There was somebody else on this undercard that I was like, ooh, that might be a good one. Nayambayar against John Pullman. Casillas against who? Salim. I knew it was somebody. There we go. There we go. That's going to be a good one. Rais Aline, y'all got to check that brother out. In his last fight, he tired out a little bit. So he was pushing punches. He was a little tired. I thought the guy he fought, he should have wiped him up easy. But I guess the guy was a little bit more difficult than what we could see. The guy, from what the announcers were saying, he's not really a power puncher. We don't have a lot of pop in his punches, but he throws bunches and bunches and bunches. So he gave old boy a good little fight there. He gave him a good little fight, talking about Rais Aline. Then the fight that he had before that in August, oh my God. That's a fun little nugget to watch right there. Rais Aline, if you never seen him fight, you might want to see him fight. You're gonna get your money's worth. Really. And Gary Russell, same thing. You're gonna get your money's worth. Now, Gary trains all the time. All the time. He's never out the gym. He trains his brothers. I'm sure he get a lot of work in sparring. Um, I have to believe, or I want to believe, that when Gary steps in that ring, he's gonna be ready. I don't know what you guys think. I think he's gonna be ready. The only thing that gives me pause right now is Gary has came out and said he had an injury. Why would he say that? That affect gambling. Once you say something like that, be like, oh, you're not 100%. I might shouldn't bet on you then. I don't know. I don't know why he said that. He didn't disclose what he's injured, how he's injured or what the injury is. And I think if you're not gonna say it, you just shouldn't say it. That's just my thought. I don't know if he was trying to get ahead of a story. I hope Gary is not ready to lay down and give up some stuff because I want to see Gary move up. How about you guys? Don't y'all want to see Gary move up? Because when George Kambosos won his fight with who did he fight? T.O. and got all them belts off of T.O. and Devin turned around and beat his opponent and Tank. Like all these fighters have fought. Like, was it the same weekend? I mean, Devin fought that Saturday. So that was December 4th. Tank fought Sunday, December 5th. But and we saw the emergence of Isaac Pitbull Cruz. I was like, Gary, everybody in that division, Gary could clean them up. Everybody. In my opinion, he could clean them all up. And hanging out at 126 is not doing Gary Russell any good because don't nobody want to fight him. They ain't gonna never want to fight him. Now, Leo threw out a nugget, and I reported on this earlier this week, that according to how his fight ends or the conclusion of his fights, he's gonna either go up, stay where he is, or go down. If he go back down, then he should fight Gary Russell, the one he had avoided some years ago. We also learned that Leo has a belt at 126 that he hasn't defended since about 2019, and he had this belt for a while. He hasn't defended it, but yet nobody has came to him for that. Imagine that. And I think of things like that. What makes them not go after Leo, but somebody like Andre, they throwing this mandatory on him out the blue. They threw a mandatory on Ugas, so they had to pay his opponent step aside money. These are sanctioning belts doing this, ordering fights, telling you fights got to get made, and you got to do it in a rapid manner. But Leo could move up, get his ass whooped by Tank Davis at 130, haven't defended his belt in years, but he got to keep his belt. Now, how is that fair? Because don't nobody else get to do shit like that. And the only people I see that get to do that is Mexicans. That's the only people I see that get to do that. And that's not right. But, he wants at Gary. Other people are now starting to call Gary out. But are they calling him out because they want interest and eyes put on them in their next endeavor? That's how I see it. All the people that's talking Gary now is because they want you to look at their fights. Because if they're a potential future opponent of Gary Russell, then what's the prevailing wisdom? Boxing fans gonna be like, they either gonna know the guy or they're gonna be like, let me go check out what he doing because I want to see how this fight, it's them speculating or guesstimating. Let me see how this fight with Gary could turn out. Let me see what this young guy got. Mag Sale, Gary got to be on his game. And I would say this, Gary, when he has an opportunity to finish him, he has to finish him. Mag Sale will get strength and stamina out of nowhere on a heightened level. And we have to just look at his last fight with Sehar to see how that shit can play off. or come to fruition. So that fight coming up this weekend, you got two good fighters, Raees Salim on the card and Gary Russell. Y'all will not be bored. That's a good one. Please check out Showtime. Check that fight out. I'm actually gonna see it. I know it's PBC, but here's the thing: I ain't paying for it, so I'm sticking to my guns. But I got Showtime. If it come on Showtime, I'm watching. I'm also gonna check out some Bellator this weekend if they have it, and I'm gonna check out some of the fights that DJ have sent me. I'm gonna watch some of those. I'm gonna try to watch some other type UFC fighters because if I'm not gonna be checking out a lot of boxing in the near future, if I gotta pay for it, hell to the nizzle. Another news I wanted to say, and I think I kind of talked about it a little bit, but Shakur Stevens, he had put out that duck season is over. Congratulations, Shakur Stevens. He said the fight with Oscar Valdez is secured. For him to even say something, the fight is secure. And the gift was secured courtesy of Bob Arum's pending suit with Terrence Crawford. That was my game number one. Remember? I told you I'm gonna count all the games. I'm on game number 2. I gotta go back and find it because I said it and then I said, I don't know what it is. I know I wrote it down. Hold on, y'all. As I said, I was like, that's a game. And why has it escaped my mind? I forgot it yesterday too. Oh, no wonder I couldn't remember it. So, when I was telling y'all about Bob Arum sending Teofimo to the Cleveland Clinic, I don't know if T.O. got to pay for it or is Bob paying for it, but Bob want to check from the rooted to the tootie. That's how a promoter should work. He should do stuff like that for his fighters. That means he took his illness or his whatever affliction he had, he took it seriously. And he's like, look, get a thorough check to make sure we never have this problem again. And T.O. and Kambosos was the first people that had to write in their contract that they got their COVID shots done and they've been fully vaccinated and everything. So that was new in boxing. What's up, Carmen?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry about last week.
Oh, that's fine. Ain't no need to apologize.
Oh yeah, that train was rolling. You said, I'm gonna go spend time with my son. I'm
Yep.
just finishing up this, and then we're gonna move into ladies' night. And I implore you guys to stay. Butter will be here soon. Butter birthday was yesterday.
Oh shit! I gotta tell her happy birthday.
Yeah. And my tax lady. Shout out to Tabitha.
Dang on Aquariuses.
We in Aquarius season now. Hey, I get along with Aquarians real good.
So do I. I got a good friend that's an Aquarius, and my man's an Aquarius. So
I look at you. You just saying that because that's your man.
Yeah, damn Aquarius.
You are a Taurus, right?
Sure am.
Oh yeah, look, it's supposed to be Aquarius, Libras, and Geminis. What's your 3?
The what?
For us, is the most compatible partners or friends or whatever for Libras are Aquarius and Geminis and Libras. Those 3. And you actually the one that if you go to Gemini, it's gonna be Aquarius, Libra. Go to Aquarius, it's gonna be Gemini, Libra. So I mean, what's your 3 for Taurus?
I don't know what it is. I get along with damn near everybody. Then again, if you don't like me, I don't care. I don't need you around. So that's my mentality. Yeah. As long as you keep it real, I'm cool with you.
Keep it 100. She good with you. Demetrius said, I'm back. What's up, King? So yeah, in the end of the day, y'all, this thing about the fight happening with Shakur Stevens, you remember that fight we went to in October, Carmen?
Yep.
Yeah, so he finally got his fight that he wanted. Been begging, girl, sending a letter to Santa Claus and everything. And Bob Arum has not been trying to do it for him. But Terrence Crawford, you remember you met him?
Yep. I know who he is.
He's suing. I'm just making sure because I don't know what you remember. He's suing Bob Arum right now for breach of contract, but it has a racial element under, over it or whatever. Demetrius says, "Salute, Carmen." What's up?
Evening, Demetrius. Nice seeing you.
Yeah, so he got a gift, and what I said was that Bob Arum was going to turn into Santa Claus because there is a racial element hanging around that, but that's not what Terrence is taking him to court for breach of contract. But you gotta, the question going to come up: why are you breaching the contract? Why are you doing your black fighters like that? I mean, it's bound to come up. So now he's trying to create a narrative. Hey, I'm not like that. Look what I'm doing for Shakur. Now he's being a promoter. He's sending people to the doctors. He doing all kinds of shit. Imagine what a little old suit can make a person do. That's what I would say. But shout outs to Shakur Stevens for finally getting his way. And we're gonna see how he mollywop this nigga. But this fight, y'all be sure to catch Gary Russell and Raeese Aline show up and show out. I hope the ring rust ain't too bad on Gary, because I'm pulling for you, dude. But how was your week, Carmen? I see you already on your hookah.
Yep, it was good. It was long. I'm having a long week next week. I'm gonna be cold next week.
What you got into? You smiling and smiling? What's going on?
Nothing.
What I don't know.
I'll tell you on the side.
Ooh, okay. Somebody put a smile on your face and a step in your walk. Hey, I ain't mad at that. Look, I was like, what we gonna talk about? I thought about a lot of topics, and I thought of two, but I'm gonna wait till Butter get in for the last one. But I've wanted to talk about this for a minute. You can introduce another topic too. We don't have to stay on the topic, but I wanted to talk about what it takes to run a household. And from there, I'm gonna get into child support. And I want you guys, do not run from this topic. I want you guys to chime in and tell us what you think. No opinion is wrong. Nobody up here has the authority to say how it's supposed to be or not. But I know some guys, it's a little touchy for them. Remember, we ain't your baby mamas. We ain't do shit to y'all. So we just talking. But first I would like to ask Carmen, what do you think it will take, not on our level of living, but what do you think will take to run a household? Like financially, how much do you think it would take to run a household, and then talk about why it costs that much?
It depends what level of comfort you want. So you can run a household making 30,000 a year, or you can run a household making 6-7 figures a year. Mm-hmm. It just depends on the lifestyle. The biggest thing is living within your means, being able to budget. So even someone that doesn't have a lot of money can budget. If you save, you live within your means, you know how to shop, where to shop, use your coupons for things that you need. Mm-hmm. You can go about your life and live a comfortable life and save and get ahead and get out of debt.
So, and that's it. I have Poseidon bouncing around there. In roundabout figures, so like if you make $30,000 a year, is that good for a 5 people household?
No. You're gonna wind up, that's and that might be good for a 2, maybe 3 person household, but there's a way, it's all about money management. So mm-hmm. I've been down where I'm making very little and had 2 kids and raising them, did what I had to do and everything else and made it happen. Like my kids never realized we were broke as hell because I didn't let them on. Like I cleaned houses on the side. I had, besides being in the military, I was a Captain Morgan Smirnoff Ice promotion girl 2 days a week. I bartended, I did hair, I did, whatever side gigs I had to and hustle. So that way I could get my kids good things. I knew how to shop, go to thrift stores, buy stuff, so they had nice things, but it didn't break the bank. If I couldn't afford it within, if I couldn't afford to pay it off within 90 days, I didn't need it. I wasn't running up a bunch of credit card debt.
Is that where you learn your skills and shopping? Because let me tell y'all, Carmen is good at shopping. Like she's
I
serious.
live bougie on a budget.
Look, she seriously could be a buyer. And this is something this lady could do.
Actually, I've done that before for people where they've told me, hey, look, because they don't like shopping, they don't like looking for the deals. Hey, this is my budget. This is, either how many outfits my kids need, whatever else, whatever's left. Mm-hmm. That's your profit.
But now on average, people can have like 2 kids. Would you say that's average? Because most people I know have 3 and most people have 1. But I'm just going to go in the middle with 2 kids, right? Mm-hmm. 2 girls, 2 boys, a boy and a girl, it don't matter. So you got a parent and you trying to run the household. Ideally, what kind of financial, just so the kid can live in a decent neighborhood where they ain't got to be dodging bullets and shit.
It depends. Well, that again depends on the city and the state. That depends on the city and state with cost of living. Sometimes you got to
just ballpark, just in general. Not trying to be real specified, because eventually I'm gonna get to what do you think? How you think child support probably should be ran? Because there's a lot of controversy about child support that is not doing a solace to the kid. Some people can say that, and some people say it's doing a disservice to the other parent, the non-custodial parent. But in order for, I wanted to broach this subject because a lot of people have had issues with it, or they had a good thing to report about it. But like, I need to just hear from the people. That's why I say you guys chime in. I want to hear it round about how much a household should have. And if we just start off with like a parent who has 2 kids.
So my whole thing is my personal take on it, my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have rent and utilities regardless. So I don't expect child support to chip in on rent and utilities. That's just my personal, that's bills I'm going to have living on my own. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, I know not everybody plans on having kids. Things happen, people in relationship, 2-parent household, then things don't work out. One parent leaves and maybe the household becomes too much for the one person to do. The way the states have, they'll look at both parents' incomes, and usually it's, I think for a lot of states, it's 20% of the income goes to child support.
Virginia was 35. To the non-custodial parent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, some other states is like 20, so it depends for one child, and it goes up from there. Mm-hmm. And it's for the income base because they do it on, this would be how much would be contributed to the child. Mm-hmm. So that child has a certain standard of life. Now,
y'all in the chat, I'm sorry, y'all in the chat, please do chime in. Say something in the chat. I dropped the link in the chat. You can come through, or you could call in. The phone lines are open. Smash the like button when you come in, and subscribe if you haven't. But continue, Carmen. Sorry for the interruption.
Oh
no. The fact that you laughing because you try to be real careful. That's funny to me.
No, I know I'm gonna piss people off with this one.
Look. What's say it with your chest, girl? Go on ahead, because it is.
I have friends that neither parent pays child support. They do week on, week off. Mm-hmm. I know friends, and like with my boyfriend, there's no child support agreement, but he takes care. He buys, his son's stuff when he need, when they need stuff, whatever else. He might, if she's running short on like a water bill or whatever else, he'll pay the bill, whatever, because that's where the kids, she's the primary parent, whatever else. And they have that agreement. For me, from my stuff, my situation was when I got a divorce, I gave my ex the option of, be a part of the child's life. And if I need something, I'll let you know, and when it came at that point, they were younger. So babysitting, pay half the babysitting. That was it. The child care. Or if you're not going to do what you're supposed to, or if I have to chase you down, my child needs something and you're not contributing, then I'm going to take you to court. And whatever the courts say I'm entitled to, that's what I'm going to get. My ex chose the latter because he was upset that I didn't want him anymore and thought he was going to punish me by not being a part of the kid's life. So I took him to court. And I got to lean against this stuff still to this day because he ain't paid. Do not care if he rots in jail, how successful, whatever else he is. It's not. Like, and for me, it was, yep, I made it happen by myself. And that child support, eventually I'm gonna get it. It's gonna go into, you know, their college stuff or helping them advance or whatever else. That's the way I've seen it. I've seen too where women get child support and they spend it on themselves and the kids looking ragged. That I got a problem with. I've seen where women will sit there and complain about child support because it's not enough to take care of the child and them. The man doesn't have the responsibility to take care of your grown tail. It's the child. So with that whole thing, I've seen too where women throw a fit about child support and they use the child as a pawn, which is completely wrong. And I think that alone should be grounds for a parent to lose their child, to lose custody of their kid. If you are, that's my person.
Look, I ain't mad at you. That's you.
If the parent is trying to be an active parent and there is no grounds for you to have safety concerns, they haven't harmed the child, anything else like that, you should not be alienating your child from the other parent. If you do that, you are destroying your child. You're not hurting the other parent as much as you think. What you're doing is damaging your child. And for that reason alone, I think you should lose custody. And the custody then should go to the other parent.
So do you believe in general that there should be child support?
Yeah, I think there is reason because for a lot of forced child support, for a lot of people, they wouldn't take care of the child if it's not for child support. Because you also have guys that get mad because they can't be with the baby mama or because they're done with the relationship, the kids become throwaway kids. They'll be quick to get with another female and help take care of their kids, of the other female's kids, but forget about their own. And if you flossing head to toe new stuff and you're not contributing anything to your child, yeah, it should be forced.
Demetrius Bryce said, have to go, ladies. This is a very touchy subject. However, child support laws are flawed in Texas and Colorado. They highly favor the woman, no matter if she is unfit or not. You guys can chime in. Listen,
we can talk about Texas. I'm gonna disagree with the flawed in Texas thing.
Listen, no matter how we feel, it's just an opinion, y'all. We don't have nobody has a heaven or hell to put nobody in. It's just, just talking about it. It's a touchy subject, but that's what we do on Grown Woman Talk. I don't want nobody to shy away or be scared because nobody's gonna beat you down for saying what you're saying. So, because Carmen and me, we already gonna have differences, and you see how me and her talking right now. Carmen knows it. That's why she's smiling. D Ray is in the building. Was Poppy King? He said, "Queen, Karma, salute. The salute to you, Karma.
Salute.
You believe that there should be child support, okay?
Yeah. I don't think it has to go through the court each time. It really depends on the relationship and if both participants are grown enough to understand that just because they didn't work out, it's about the child and co-parent effectively. So I think a lot of people what I have seen is a lot of women use child support as a tool to get back at the guy or whatever, or they throw a fit because things aren't done their way or because the guy's with some other female or whatever else. There's really none of the baby mama or ex, however you want to, ex, or whatever the role the female want to call herself, there really is none of her business. The business is just about the child, making sure the child is taken care of and communicating effectively with the other partner.
Now, in the same token, I know you say you've seen women do it out of spite, so to speak. That's what you're saying. Have you seen women be genuine about their approaches to child support? Like they really just trying to get support?
Yeah.
So both of those can be true.
Yep. And a lot of states, to include Texas, will let, if they'll do the paperwork, even the child support office will do the paperwork. And if both parties agree on a certain amount and it's less than what the state would enforce, the child support agreement is going to be that agreed upon amount.
Mm-hmm. So E Thriller is in the building. He said, preach, amen. Salute to the queens on the panel.
So I see D-Ray says, if you pay, you should get to be in the baby's life. Here's the thing where a lot of people get confused. Whether you pay or not, you still have a legal right to be in your child's life. That is completely separate issue. But like I said, what you see a lot of, or what you hear a lot of, is where people make it, and I say women, but there are guys like that too that do have custody of their child. But I'm saying women because most of the time it's the woman that has the child, where they use it as upon it's not enough, or they didn't get the payment for whatever reason. Maybe the guy's just being a piece of crap and, has, or female has the mentality, I'm not going to take care of the other person, not realizing that money is to better that child's life. And so the other person wants to then you're not going to see your child. That's two completely separate issues. And a child needs the presence of the parent more than they need the funding of the parent.
Money is just really has no place when it comes to seeing your kid. It's that I agree with that. Like when you are, I heard this said before, mama and daddy is the closest thing to a child's lip to saying God. You are sent, you are chosen by God to be that person's parent. And whether you paying child support or not should not have no bearing on it. But before you go, Carmen, I want to ask this now. Do men who are not custodial parents, do they use kids as a pawn too, to make sure that the woman don't either go for child support or so that they don't have to do nothing? Like if the woman is not doing what they want to do, and the man he don't really want to raise a kid, but he know to get the woman not to do what he want to do, he's gonna pretend like he's gonna get custody, and then once he get custody, get his sister or a family member or his mother to actually do the day-to-day hustle of raising the kid. Can that be true as well?
It can be true. I've seen more of the opposite. Usually I've seen more men use excuses why they're not in the child's life, or why they can't see a child, while they're not willing to hire an attorney and fight for the child. They always got an excuse. It's, the baby mama won't let me, or whatever else, instead of, well, if that's true, why are you not fighting? Why are you not hiring an attorney? There are plenty of organizations out there now that fight for men's rights, and there's a prorated fee. If you can't afford it, some attorneys will work pro bono to help you fight to get your child's right. And you keep a record, and they'll tell you how to do stuff. If after the court order, when it comes to visitation, if the mother isn't abiding by it or whatever else, you keep that documented. You can go back to court, and that actually can cause the mother to lose custody of the child. So I haven't personally seen so much where a guy tries to get custody just to spite the mom and then dump the child with someone else.
I've seen that a lot.
I'm
just saying I see.
Yeah, I'm saying I haven't seen.
Okay.
What I've seen more of is, they're quick to badmouth the baby mama or raise issues, but they're not willing then to fight for the child. If you don't think your child's being taken care of, or you're having a hard time to see your child, you're being alienated from it, what are you doing to sit there and fight for your child?
E Thriller says, ladies, how do y'all feel about the new generation of women expecting for a man to pay all the bills? That's kind of weird. It's a great question, E Thriller, but it's weird. I will try to answer that one. I just think if you live somewhere where pay your fair share. Like for me, this is my home, so I pay everything up in here. I never expect nobody to pay anything in here. It's mine. But if I, let's say I live with someone, let somebody live with me, you can't live here for free. So I'm not one of the people that look for a man to do everything for me. I think that people should pay their fair share. But there's a lot of men who is on that macho machismo chrome magnum way of thinking. I'm the man, I'm the king. You women are not fit to, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of guys that shit is resurging up in our culture in America. And if that's how you feel, then to me, I mean that depends on that woman. If you king dingling and you run everything and everything got to go through you, then you pay for everything. I don't know, because I mean you can't straddle the fence on that one. That's somebody unique to them. But for me, I pay my fair share. If I move in with someone, I pay my fair share, and that's all I could ever ask. How about you, Carmen?
I think the generation of women expecting for a man to pay all the bills, that's kind of, I mean, that was old school way of thinking too. And then the woman took care of the house and everything else. If a woman wants the man to pay all the bills, then the woman needs, and play that traditional role, then the woman needs to fulfill a lot of the traditional roles that the woman is supposed to fulfill. You can't have it both ways. You can't expect a man to pay for everything, but you're not willing to keep the house clean. You're not willing to cook dinner for him. You're not willing to take care of him. It has to go hand in hand.
Well, it's a social construct. It's a tradition. It is a culture thing. This is a patriarchal society, and from what the books say, it's an ideal way to live. And so, like, we in agreement. You have to pull your own weight, in other words. So if he's gonna go out and work and you stay home, then you're the manager of that house. You have to manage that house.
Yep.
That means cook, clean, everything. You have to do whatever a person has to do to manage a house. We all do it.
The backhand of that is, if that's the type of relationship you're in, then the person paying all the bills can't discredit the person that's staying home, because the cost of what it would be to maintain the house, to cook, everything else like that, they are contributing. It might not be financially bringing in money, but they're still saving money. And that's the thing that I've personally seen, because I grew up with it for a while, where, you don't have a say till you bring home money, or then you don't have a say till you bring home the same amount. That is equally toxic. That's not any of
combination. D-Ray is telling the truth, bad mouthing them.
So it depends. You shouldn't badmouth. You shouldn't
badmouth. He E3 will say y'all are on. D-Ray say dropping gems, but go ahead, Carmen.
So if you're telling the truth, bad mouthing them, it depends who you're telling. So the whole thing, if you're talking bad about the other parent around your child, yes, that is bad mouthing them. Like, that's still the other child's parent. Those are feelings you should not push onto your child or voice, whatever. Regardless how the other parent acts, you maintain respect and the higher road for the benefit of your child. Your child will learn the truth about the other parent as they get older and see things for themselves. So I can speak, like, for myself. My ex, like I said, was a deadbeat because I didn't want to be with him. I kept everything. You already know, I'm a meticulous records keeper. So when they had out for school, hey, these are their breaks. Do you want to see them? When do you want to come get them? Whatever the case was. Always an excuse back or no reply. And I kept all those documents. When my children turned 18, I handed them everything. Here you go. You ain't got to believe your father. Because what I was never going to do was allow a situation for my ex to be like, I wanted to be a part of your life, but your mom. That was never going to happen.
Does that happen a lot?
That does.
Does that happen both ways?
It does happen both ways.
Okay.
So what I did is I kept things fully documented. When they turn 18, whether they read it or not is not my problem. Here goes everything. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe the father. You can see for yourself.
So when I was trying to get you to narrow down a guesstimation about how much would it take to run a household. So you know what we spend. I know what I spend. You probably spend more, but I know I spend a lot per month just to run this house. Okay. So I'm gonna go in the middle because I could think of very, very poor situations. I'm talking about in general, a person with 2 children, what it's gonna take, because you don't want to live in squalor. You don't have to live in the riches or whatever. You could live in an apartment. You don't have to be a homeowner. But if you had 2 children, even if you had 1 bedroom and the other kid did like the JJ and Michael thing, slept on the fold out couch. You know what I'm saying? The point is, what does it take to run a household? And I'm gonna just say I'm gonna start at $2,000. Now, $2,000 couldn't do shit up in here, and I know it couldn't do shit over there. Yeah, a month.
Not my household.
So, out of that $2,000, okay, that it would take to run a household, here's how I see it. All of us can do our own little math as to how much it would take to run a household. And if you're a parent, I'm responsible for not only running my household, but I'm responsible for providing a household for my kids, right? So that means food, shelter, clothing to start, not to mention money to go to school, eat lunch, all that shit that come with
Childcare, that's the
raising
biggest killer.
kids. But let's stick with the basics: food, shelter, and clothing. As a parent, whether you with your kid every day or not, you are responsible for food, shelter, and clothing. Do everybody agree? Y'all chime in the chat. Let me know how you feel, Carmen.
Okay,
so as a parent.
For what? How much it take for?
Well, I was trying to get you there because I wanted to establish a baseline of how much we think of regular, just run-of-the-mill general household should be. Not saying you live in high off the hall, not saying you the dirtiest of poorness, like you at the bottom of the barrel, but somewhere in the minute. So I came up with 2,000. I know a lot of people in what they call the so-called hood that don't spend that much money on that house. But then if you look at what we spend, and we not rich, we middle class. I spent way more than that to run this household, but I am responsible as a parent, just talking about me, to provide food, shelter, and clothing. And in my mind, as a parent, whether I could have been the dad, if I was the dad with no custody or the dad with custody, it don't matter. I am still responsible for food, shelter, and clothing. So I'm trying to establish that baseline. First off, do you agree that each parent is responsible for those 3 things?
Yeah, for those things of the child. But like I said, where I kind of differ is the rent or mortgage or whatever I'm going to have regardless. It might be a couple $100 more for an extra bedroom, but I'm still going to have that. I'm still going to have water. I'm still going to have electric, gas, if you got gas or both. I'm still going to have those bills regardless if I'm by myself or if I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some people, well, this household, it takes this much because of rent and everything else. Well, you want to have that bill no matter what.
So should that be something that they take away? Because see, that's we can agree, right? That's something personally you feel, right?
Yeah.
Because we did agree that the man and the woman, no matter who got custody, is responsible for those.
And the courts, even when it comes even to when they divvy it out, they look at how much both parents make, regardless if you have custody of the child or not. And then the parent that makes the most money is responsible for the higher percentage of those childcare costs, whether it's the food, clothing, and everything else, medical, everything else.
That's what you're saying. Because I was gonna say, where you going with this? Because I know in my case, in Virginia takes what I made and what he made, and it doesn't matter who make more, because I know he would call and report. He'd be like, "Oh, she making more money now," and I'd be like, "Stupid. That's hurting you. That ain't gonna do nothing for me. It's just gonna up your amount that you got to pay." So the court said, to me, I'm gonna just say T, not my real name, but T, you're responsible for 65%. He's only responsible for 35%. And they had an idea, like between the both of us, how much the kids should get. So if I made more, that's gonna up his. If he makes more, it's gonna up his. So the what I did was once I got the first initial court order, I never went back. I never went back for a re-up. I actually wanted more. He didn't want to do it because like your situation, he wanted to hurt me. But in the end, we on the tail end now. We're on the other side of the equation, guys. So I'm not, I ain't being funny. Me being on the other side of the equation because my kid's grown. So you hurt yourself. You missed out. I didn't, but you was trying to hurt me. And I know that, and you know that, and he's admitted that now. But you missed out. I got to have all the baby moments and all the pictures and all the one-on-one. And kids are a blessing. Let me get some of these chats. DJ said, Miss T and Carmen, salute queens. What's up, DJ? Salute to you, queen. He said, my wife and I have an arrangement. She take care of the girls and I take care of the bills and her. I heard that, King. And he said, that's right, Carmen. My G-Ma always told me whenever I move out, whether it was a roommate or a woman, always make sure you can afford the place by yourself. Yeah.
And that's how I was raised. I was also raised that, hey, even if you're married, everything's going well, you need to position yourself to where if something happens to your husband, he gets injured, can't work, that you can take care of the family, that you can step up to the plate.
Now, here, see, I'm an independent thinker as well. Me and Carmen might disagree on some slight things, but it's not a bad thing. Like I know people who don't even file child support. They be like, I don't want nothing. But see, I felt like I cannot make a man be a man, nor would I ever try. I cannot also make a man be a daddy. I'm not a daddy. I'll never be a daddy. So I'm not going to even try to put my 2 cents in on that. But when it comes to the financial well-being of the children, that you have to play your part because I'm gonna do mine too. Fair is fair. But when I move wherever I am, I pay all my bills. When I actually got married, my ex-husband was not my child's father, and I never made him pay no nothing with her. Nothing at all. He couldn't pay no daycare. I didn't want none of that shit because at the end of the day, I am her parent. If somebody else is going to pay towards her, it's going to be her other parent. The fact that he didn't want to, I could him and haw and cry. You be upset at the moment, but life goes on. You got to keep it pushing. And so, for me, everything fell on me. I did it. I did take mine to child support. And now it's up there. It's like the cost of a brand new house. It's up there. And I laugh at it because, his decision, although hurtful at the time, it was a dumbass decision. And a lot of guys out there do not know that child support is like student loans. They never go away. Now, if you get a woman that don't know that, and she just let it ride off into the sunset, it never goes away, y'all. It never goes away. Your kid can be 40 years old and you can be pulling child support. Now, do y'all think that is fair? I like to hear from the men on that one. But in the meantime, Carmen, girl, what you think?
So I have a friend who her child's father is not in her child's life by choice. Mm-hmm. Another thing where he's mad, they weren't together, and so he decided to take it out on the child, thinking he was going to hurt her. She will not go to she will not ask for child support because she said, I don't need the money. I'm doing fine. Mm-hmm. My counter to her was, you might not need the money, but your child doesn't have a college account. If you don't need the money to take care of the child, there could be money that could be invested for your child's future. So your child has a leg up in life, where your child can go to school and not have student debts and not have to worry about the stuff that can graduate. Being able to graduate with next to no student debt puts you 10 steps ahead of most people in this country.
See, this is the one thing too. As women and any ladies listening, you guys could call in at 706-804-4449. That's 706-804-4449. You come in through the chat You can beam in. I put the link in the chat. I'll put it back up there. This is the one thing you can't do, and I've taught my daughter this. You can't make a man do nothing. You cannot build a man. You cannot shape his character. You can have influence, but you can't be in the business of trying to make a dude do nothing. They're gonna do what they want to do. But you as an individual, you need to have an answer. For whatever part you play in anything, you always have to have an answer. So I took that mantra for myself, and as I'm raising my kid, I'm like, my kid hungry. What's my answer? My kid want to go on a field trip. What's my answer? My kid need new shoes. What's my answer? My kid wants a good Christmas. What's my answer? I don't call my mama. I don't call my daddy. I didn't even call him. He was obligated to do what he was supposed to do. He just chose not to do. But I knew even back then, a long time ago, I was like, you can't run from it. You're going to do it now or you'll do it later. Because in the end of the day, I paid his part. Now I'm asking the fellas in the chat, was that fair? I'm asking you, Carmen, was that fair?
That you had to be the one to burden?
I paid
it's not fair, but I mean, as moms, we had to do what we had to do to make sure that they still got to enjoy life, go on school field trips with their classmates and everything else and have a good life. So we did what we had to do. It's not fair at all, but we did what we had to do. And I know your ex and my ex both thought that, well, when they turn 18, I ain't got to worry about it no more. No, you still owe that back stuff.
Ooh, if I told y'all the words, y'all will fall out y'all chair. And I was asked to let it go. I'm not. That's all I got to say about it. I don't get no conversations. I don't need to talk.
Yeah.
They grown now, ain't nothing for me to say. But they have a relationship with him now because that's exactly what he did. I applaud. You know what? I clap my hand to that. I promote that. I advocate that because you should know both of your parents, as you were stating earlier about, child support shouldn't dictate or have any bearing on whether a man see his kid or a woman see her kid or, who gets to be a parent. I think at birth, you are equally, have like top billing with your kid. Like you're equal. That's equal. There's no one that's higher. Not a man, not a woman. At birth, y'all are equals in the parenting department. Now, in the child's life, there can be a tipping of the scale, so to speak. And that has a lot to do with that parent. What do you say to that?
I think it does have a lot to do with that parent. I've seen stuff on social media where women have kids and then, after the baby's born, they get on social media asking for advice, should I let my baby stay the night with their father or whatever else? Well, if you ain't trust them to let your child stay, maybe you should have been a little more careful about who you spread your legs to.
See, now that's after the fact, Carmen.
That's it. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not after the fact because you can be selective on who you sleep with. Unless you were raped and had a child, you have a choice in who you lay down with. If you're a guy and you're, I don't want this woman having my kids, this and other, maybe you should have wrapped it up and been a little more careful or not stuck it in her. Like being selective goes on both parts. And I know sometimes too, you don't realize it because you can be in a long committed relationship or married and everything is great. And then you not see the other side of that person until you get divorced or break up from that long-term marriage, long-term relationship. And then you have where, well, if I can't have you, I don't want anything to do, or the child becomes throwaway because the other parent moves on. Mm-hmm. If the other parent, and if they want to claim, I can't afford it, I can't afford to send anything. Okay, that's fine. What are you doing to be an active part in your child's life? You can afford to take care of some other woman's child that ain't yours. I don't want to hear it.
So in the end of the day, like when I was talking about what it would take to run a household, as I can tell y'all, and I know all of y'all know this, y'all having the same, issues that we have. Like to run my household costs way more than some 2,000. I don't even want to ask Carmen how much you run hers with. But if we know that and we understand that, okay, because the question I'm gonna ask next is it could be a whole lot of different answers. What's fair child support? Like what is fair child support? We know they have a formula from state to state. Like Virginia, like I said, they're gonna award the custodial parent 65% if they haven't changed it since I've been in the game. But and the non-custodial 35%. Every state different, as Carmen says, some of them could be 20% to the non-custodial parent. What is fair child support? And whatever you give, is it okay to try to dictate how that money should be spent?
It's not fair how it's dictated to be spent. If you're paying child support to the custodial parent, it's the custodial parent's responsibility to spend that money towards the child, whether that's clothes, food, help with the shelter, whatever, a car that needs to get fixed to take them to and from school, whatever the case is. Child support that's given is not, hey, I'm going to dictate how the other parent spends the money. That's not, even in a household when you have, two parents there, most of the time it's one person paying the bills how they see fit, whatever money goes to whatever. It's the same thing when you split up. Like if you want extra or, I think my child should have this, then buy it.
What do you guys think about it in the chat? Because that is a big issue too. And again, it goes back to my original premise of, I'm putting the link in the chat if y'all want to chime in. It go back to my original premise. If you are a parent, and I'm not going to put a gender because a parent is either a father or a mother. But if you are a parent, there's 3 basic things that you are responsible for. That means you are responsible financially for this. And that's food, shelter, and clothing. It's expected of you to do the stuff like school trips and all the extracurricular. I could tell you one time, my daughter wanted to join the cheerleading team. I don't know if I told you this, Carmen, but she wanted to join the cheerleading team. And I'm used to how school was when we went to school, right?
Everything expensive nowadays.
Girl, that mug sent a letter home talking about it's gonna be $1,200, 1,200 bones if she gets on the team. A nigga was over here praying she wouldn't make the team. Bad mother. Am I a bad mother? I was praying. I was like, Lord, I ain't say nothing, but I was like, Lord.
I know why is because you didn't have the money and everything else. Like you don't want the child to make the team and then you have to break down. I can't afford to let you do this because then that's disappointment in your I understand the fear of disappointing your child. So I don't think that you were a bad mom for praying because I understand the thought process behind that. When you don't have money, you're strapped, you're not getting help from the other parent. And then it's, oh my God, I want her to do this because I want her to have that experience. But at the same time, I don't want to be the one to tell her she can't because I can't afford it. There's no way for me to scrape that amount of money.
That was when I was working and not retired or not. But it was basically why I can't. It's not like I couldn't come up with it, but you know how much money they be asking. School to me nowadays is not free no more.
It's not. And well, especially like when we moved up to the Atlanta area when my daughter got involved in lacrosse and all the other stuff, like that was expensive. Like, and it was still, at least for me, my daughter actually made it. So I made sure I scraped the money together, sent her and everything else. But it was a lot of, okay, let me do this on the side or do that on the side. And that's time away from your child because you're doing everything else to try and let them do whatever. So you're sacrificing in order to make it happen. Now you're sacrificing time away from your child. So they have those experiences. It's a balancing act.
I swear, school, I could have sworn, I was like, is she going to public school or private school? Remember?
Even for choir, it costs money.
Yes. It won't like I won't paying for other things because they had a pathway. Remember, you had to pay for that shit. Remember when our kids had got it was I don't know if it's because they got the presidential award, but like every year they was invited up to college for the summer or whatever. You actually sent your kid, girl. That never happened. You want to talk about how much that shit costs?
So that was about $1,000 to pay, and then I gave her money for food and for other stuff so she could have those experiences with everyone else. But yeah,
I thought it was a total like three.
After everything, yes, after everything. But yeah, so initially it was $1,000 down payment, and then I had to do monthly payments after that.
Whew. Now, our kids was getting them shits every summer.
The good grades, it's everything. If they get good grades, there opens up more opportunities. But those opportunities, the only reason one of the big reasons too, where I personally invested into it with my daughters, because it was extra. So while they were there, they were actually earning a little bit of college credit, and it opened up pathways for more scholarships and everything else.
Networking.
Yes,
because mine had got invited to a lot of colleges all over, and you could pick regional where you want to go. But one year she got one to she had the option to go on to Harvard. I don't even want to tell you how much that shit was costing. I was like, who don't like
that? Yeah, because I sent mine to Emory.
Yeah, and that was bad enough, right?
Yeah,
I'm damn sure ain't sending mine up to Harvard. I just ain't no way. And they wanted it in a quick manner. So when we talking about schools and what you got to pay, public schools nowadays, a good one at that, is not free. It's not free anymore. You are paying every time you turn around. School, if it ain't school, don't even get me talking about school lunch. So if you are, as a parent, are responsible for those things, then I'm asking the fellas as well. You guys can chime in. As y'all see, me and Carmen handle this conversation with care. There's no hating, and we will not hate you. Don't worry, we're not gonna bite unless you want us to. Come on in the chat. But what is fair? What's a fair general amount of child support that per one kid? Now, what's fair? Anybody? Tommy, you can jump in. And don't get
I don't think you can say, hey, it's a certain dollar amount that's fair. It depends on where you're located and really what the person is making. Like if the non-custodial parent is only making $30,000 a year, they're not going to be able to chip in as much as somebody that's making $60,000 a year. And that's why the courts have the little system put in place.
See, I'm trying to get Carmen to step out of just step out the little comfort zone, because you know why I'm gonna say that this is an answer that we can all just say something. Because
I can tell you the child support order I had was for $234 a month. I got one payment for $11 and something and got cussed out because they took 11 something out of his check.
So that's what I was going to say. So look at it like this. You guys help us out. It is a touchy subject, but it's something that can be talked about amicably. You know what I'm saying? But so, like, for instance, I know a lot of women, and I ask them, what's their child support? And they be like 60 a month, 30 a month. And I'm like, what? What? Now, here's the thing. If I had a kid, am I not responsible for the provide for my kid? Do I get to say, let me take this, I'm gonna be a newspaper person, like pass out newspapers? Or do I gotta get a job that's going to cut the mustard for what needs to be done? I never understood that. I understand that people might not have big time job or whatever, but I never understand $100 a month, $200 a month. Neither one of those prices pay daycare for a month. 300 is small. That's what I asked for, and I was told no. 300 a month. Because I was like, pay the daycare, I pay for everything else. I was told no, that you can get some every now and then. That's what I was told. So when I got that answer, because I wasn't quick to draw to go, that wasn't my first move to go to child support. My first move to say, hey, we're about to be parents. How can we divvy this up? What's fair? I tell you what, I'll just ask for 3 a month. That's it. You gonna get paid extra because we both were in the military. He told me no. He said, I want to pay you every now and then. Exact words. So even 3 is low. But now when you let the judge get involved, they all but double that, a little bit more than double. So then here comes the humming. But you know why I didn't cooperate is because he gave me his ass to kiss. Once I realized I can't have an intelligent conversation with him, there was no point in talking. So let somebody else decide. But
And for me, that was mine. I gave my ex the try. I was like, look, just be a part of the kid's life, help out with whatever you can. And if I need something extra, I'll let you know. And that was the agreement. He didn't want to do that, didn't want to contribute. In fact, his exact words were, if the kids need something, you'll figure it out. You can figure it out. So I took that and said, okay.
Now, I'm not saying all men, but since we're ladies, we don't have babies with ladies. We have to speak on our experience. And I would tell you, that's some hurtful shit. Dudes know how to get under your skin. So do women. Women know how to get under men's skin. But because we're ladies, we got to speak through our lens. Ricky Williams is in the building. He said, take care of your children. Damn right.
I can talk to about the other role where, like, my ex, the one, Eric, I didn't have kids with him, but he had kids prior to he and I getting together. And he paid child support. And then, we went and got, particularly his daughter, I had her the majority of the time. Like, I taught her how to ride a bike, potty train. I had her more than her own mom. She used to call me mom and call her mom by her first name. Now, that was not my doing. That was whatever else. And she would sit there and throw a fit because the money she was getting, she flat out said, was not enough to take care of her and the baby. Now, I stayed out of it until she wanted to put me in it. And then I had to kindly tell her, I had to politely tell her, the role isn't to take care of you. You are a grown-ass woman. It's to help take care of the kid. And we used to consistently pick the girl up, which I still consider my daughter, even though I'm not with him anymore, I'm still a very active part in her life and everything. That's my youngest. I didn't give birth to her, but that's my baby. Mm-hmm. So I'd pick her up. She'd be in dirty clothes, too small, didn't smell good. I had to take her home, shower. I used to buy her, on top of the child support, would buy her a complete wardrobe. If I bought for mine, I bought for his. And would take care of that all the time. And then it got to a point I had to start cutting out tags on the clothes so her mom wouldn't go back to the store and return them. The mom's hair was constantly done, nails constantly done, everything else, but the child looking hot, daggone mess.
Now, see, in that case, Carmen, when you say that, now that's relevant. If you're gonna say the woman is the shot caller, baller from head to toe, but the kids look a mess, then I feel you. But if your kids look like they're neglected and you are sending child support, the next thing I would like to hear is, what are you doing about it?
And that's what my comment was before.
Defeated purpose. Like, what can I do about it? You can do something about
it. You can go to court. You can petition for that. But at time, like, my ex didn't want to do that. He didn't want to go get custody of his child or go fight, because then he was in the military. He'd have to get a family care plan. And there was stuff that he would have to do. He didn't want to do. Now, so then you can't, if you're not willing to fight for your child, then shut up about how they're being taken care of. Don't complain to anybody about it.
You can't. And I know a lot of guys that be like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I ain't gonna do, hey, I don't know about y'all. My daughter could be in California and I don't have a car and I need to go get her. Guess who's getting on the highway walking? I don't give a damn. Ain't nothing gonna stand in the way of me and my kids. And for the record, y'all, I have one kid, just so you know, because I sometimes say kid and then I say kids. But like Carmen, for my daughter's brother, which I have a great relationship. I used to keep this little boy, tell her Carmen, my house was filled every summer. That's my son. And his mother feel like my daughter is her daughter. And so we just came together. And the odd story is they both the same age. They 4 months apart, my daughter being older. And they were not introduced to each other by their father. He didn't even know until last year that they knew each other. Didn't even know. Macadocious Mac of the South is in the building. He says, salute the lovely and beautiful Madame Queen Miss T and Carmen. And I'm gonna throw Butter in there. And he's saluting Demetrius and D Ray and Ricky Williams, But yeah, he didn't even know that she knew her brother. He started to tell them, mind you, they grown. They grown. But he started to tell her last year, oh, you got a brother? She said, I know him. He stay with me. So I look at him as a son. I will always look at him as a son. My ex-husband, he had 3 kids, and I did for them. His ex-wife would call, and I know that they badmouth each other, but I don't get into all that. She'd be like, Dada needs some new shoes. I go right in the account and give it to her. I ain't asking no questions. I had to tell my ex-husband, I said, look, we living good over here. Your kids will too. You ain't gonna be daddy of the year over here and then sucking with your own kids. Now we all gonna live good. So they could call me. And was I getting played? I don't know, but that ain't for me to worry. Once a parent said that kids need, and I know that my ex-husband wasn't doing all that he could do. He wasn't proficient in it. So me as the wife, I was like, what can never be is that my daughter gets everything and their kids get nothing. But here's the thing, I provided for mine. Like as I said, he didn't pay for nothing with her. I meant that won't be the case because I don't need you starting something that you can't finish. That was my thing. And I'm responsible for her, and her father is responsible for her. Anybody else do anything is gravy. That's how I look at it. Butter, we see you trying to come in and just let it keep working. Eventually it's gonna jump in. Michael says, salute the lovely and beautiful Queen Butter. Most definitely. So that's why I wanted to talk about this because I want to
put out. I know that my ex, his baby mama, her and I now have a good, like I had to put my foot down on a lot of stuff and kind of put her in her place. But that's when she wanted to get me involved and
you was here, buddy.
For me. But her and I now have a great relationship. Like my ex isn't a part of his daughter's life since I split up with him. And she realized that everything that was being done for her daughter, the gifts, every single holiday, picking her up all the time, that was me doing it. Because I wasn't going to do that. I'm not going to be with someone who's not taking care of their kids. Like I personally do not understand women that can lay up with a man who doesn't do for his own children and have no problem with that, or have a kid with them and be like, well, the other kids aren't my problem. I never understood that mentality. So I have, like, with my youngest, her and I, her mother and I have a great relationship. She still comes to visit on holidays. I get her for part of the summer. We talk all the time, everything else. And she's 17 now.
She's just as cute as she want to be.
Yeah.
I remember that girl. She was little itty bitty.
Yeah.
Butter is in the building. Was Poppy Queen? You got some Butter? We talking about child support. We was talking about what you think about it. Do you think it's fair? How much you think is a fair wage? Just different things about child support. I tried to track down or nail down Carmen on what's an average amount that people can spend in their household and what's a fair amount of child support. Because if all the guys are sitting in the chat and everybody's looking, y'all know how much it costs to run your household. That household you're running for yourself, You have to provide that same thing for your each and every kid you have. And if you're not doing that, then you are falling short. Now, we do have laws in this land that we have to follow. So they come up with what they call a fair, adjustment or something. So we follow that. But in general, as a parent, you are responsible to provide shelter for your kids. That means rent and mortgage. Either one of those you're paying. So if it costs you $1,200 a month in rent or mortgage, you got to provide that for your kid. Now I know people say, "Wait a minute, Miss T, you talking about 1,200?" No, I'm just saying overall concept. If you have a home and you know how you like to live, how you live is pretty much how your kids should live or better. If you have a home with a stable environment, then that's what you have to provide for your kid, and that costs money. So that's why I was trying to nail down that amount, Carmen. But Butter, you want to chime in? Hopefully we can hear you. You're not muted, Butter. It might be your headphones, Butter. Whenever you think you can come in, Butter, come on in. We see you. You're in here. We just can't hear you. And there's nothing I can do on my end that has more to do with your headphones or your speaker on your side. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say, Carmen. So like, I can't make a person, I would never come in their father and say, "Hey, I live like this. You gotta provide us this shit." You know what I'm saying? I didn't say that. He wasn't a factor in when I decided to go get where I want to live. I didn't want to live where they shooting and drugs are prevalent and ABC liquor stores around the corner. I wanted to live the way I wanted to live. I ain't saying I'm highfalutin, but I do have a nice living situation. I never looked to him to pay for that. I ain't waiting on him. I'll be waiting all day. So I went and got it myself. But what I did was when I went to court the first time, I never went in for a re-up. I would love for Butter to come in because she has a different story than us. Hers is a little bit more better in one respect. I wish we could hear you because I want Butter to tell her story. But I will say this: her son's father, my nephew, I love her son's father. I love him to death. And Butter and him did a great job for a long time. But I really like, until she had to go to child support, but that was a long time before that happened. And that's because he started to change. But for shit, half the boys' childhood, he was on point. He was doing him, and they never involved child support. So, but I would love for Butter to tell her story. I don't want to tell the whole thing. Any guys got any suggestions of what you think normal child support should be, like how much it should be? You know, Carmen, did you ever figure out an exact amount? Like just a ballpark. I can't.
Like I said, I'm not gonna give it because I don't think there is an exact amount. Like my standard of living, the way I want to live, where I want to raise my kids, that rent was going to be regardless. I do think it's fair to pay, if they can, half the kids' clothing. Now, here's where I differ. If I want my kids an all name brand, but the father can't afford all name brand, then it's not fair to ask him to pay half of all name. And you see a lot of that. It comes to mismanagement of finances and why people get stuck a lot of times in the situations they are where they're consistently broke. You ain't got the money, but you want your child in Jordans and nothing but the best. Well, if you can't afford that, you don't get that. Like it really is overall. You see a lot of people, and we used to always call it hood rich, regardless of what ethnicity you are, you don't have money, but you want to be in all the name brand stuff. For what? The child's going to grow out of the stuff anyways. You get them clothes that fit, that look good, that are clean and everything else. It doesn't have to be name brand.
So I guess what I'm going to ask is, if you become a father or mother, are you then responsible if you got to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, are you responsible to earn a decent wage where you can pay reasonable child support? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, $100.
I do think it's your responsibility if once you have a child, that if you have to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to help take care of that child, that's what you need to do. Because as the mom,
I'm
if my
coming.
child,
Hold on.
Butter.
Hey, Butter. Go ahead, Carmen.
as the mom or as the custodial parent, if your child needs something and you can't afford it, then you have to pick up a second job, everything else. So for the non-custodial parent to use that as an excuse because they don't want to work or a second or third job to help take care of the child, that's a poor excuse. If the custodial parent is having to pick up extra, side jobs or an extra, side gigs or part-time job or whatever the case is to put food on the table and take care of the child, then so should the non-custodial parent.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say I was trying to get a ballpark figure. I get it that they go by people's pay, but $100 is not adequate. Not even 2 or 3, not even damn near 4 in today's society. If you think $400 can provide food, shelter, and clothing, I don't know what to say. But let me get these chats and then Butter gonna chime in. Ricky says all depends. He said it should be reasonable within the person's paying means. Demetrius is saluting him. And then he said, you're obligated and responsible to take care of your children. And that's part of taking care of your children. I couldn't just say, well, I don't want to spend that much money so she can't have dental. I don't want to provide her medical. I had no choice. You have a child, they need medical, they need dental, they need all these things. Now, either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. And if I'm putting that pressure on me, I feel like the other parent is putting that pressure on. They should put that pressure on themselves. God bless children with 2 parents, not 1. Butter, go ahead. What's good? Butter. You online, Butter?
I'm sorry. I had you on mute. My camera isn't working. I don't know why y'all cannot hear me or see me on the chat, but anyway, my opinion is fair is fair, and a lot of men can speak on the fact of I do my part or I do this or I do that, but yet still the test of time have shown how fathers or some out here are deadbeat, unfit. They can make the baby, they can get between the legs, but they don't want to pay for the baby. Okay? And we can settle all of that, do the blood test, make sure that the child is yours, acknowledge that the child is yours, and take care of what is yours. Because a woman can lay and have the baby all day. But whether or not they know who the father is, that's upon that woman. But we also have women out here that don't want to take care of their kids either. They have them, they leave them, and or they don't want to have nothing to do with the child because of the father. It can go a lot of ways. But as far as taking care of a child, yes, it's equally yoked. Period.
Do you mind telling them about your experience with child support? Because I actually like your story.
The funny thing about it, I didn't push it. I mean, I probably should have pushed it for my daughter, but I didn't push it. My son's father was excellent in that position. He actually, even with us separating or breaking up, not knowing that we was breaking up, we were very young, 18 years old. When it came time to doing anything for the will, we had every other weekend. We shared that. Then when I asked him for something for daycare, somebody got in his head and said, "Well, I was told I don't got to pay but $65, dollars a month for child support." I don't know where he got that from. I said, well, all I need is to get $200. Just give me $200 a month. That's all I asked for. And he was like, nah, he said, I'm gonna figure out because he already was doing what he could do for my son. But he let, at that time I was on social service or however the case may be, but he let them take him to court because it wasn't me, and they told him, hey, Shawty, you gotta pay $465. So it wasn't 65, it was 400. But outside of that, he paid that, and he still was there. There was nothing that I had to worry about when it came to like Christmases or birthday or, Pampers, none of that. But maybe he thought that, being that he was, trying to do what he can, that all I asked for was $200, and he's like, yeah, maybe somebody, like I said, somebody got in his ear. You know how men do, talk that shit and get fucked up, but he never changed or showed face on me, so I was good. I mean, I know in other states it's more or less. I'm not sure, but those 65 does me justice. Because I worked. I was a working mom, and I stayed a working mom.
And what I was gonna say to you, Butter, I was young, still in high school when she had Louis, and I watched how they did that. They made arrangements. These are young people, like she said, 18, and they young, and they chopped it up like, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, and then the other one was like, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. And when I tell you, because I know his dad was on pamper duty, I done seen that dude
that was
roll
because
pennies.
he said he wanted him to wear blue Pampers.
Yeah, the
and
loves.
I said,
the
you
loves.
gonna buy the blue Pampers.
But he rolled pennies, you guys. If he had to roll pennies, when I tell you, we, as in Butter, me, or my mom, we didn't buy no damn Pampers. That
He was selling lollipops in high school. He was selling. He used to work at Winn-Dixie, and he was, I don't know why. I mean, it is what it is. He did what he had to do. He worked it, and he got stuff from Winn-Dixie. He got stuff from Winn-Dixie. I ain't say how. And he went to school and sold them lollipop, potato chips, and XYZ.
Yeah, he did. For a young man, I was even amazed because I've never seen, growing up in the hood, we just don't see too many men stepping up. And everybody had the same story to tell. But when it's funny how Butter says she asked for 200, I didn't even know that that's what she asked for. When I became a mother, I asked for 3. I didn't try to break the bank, but I was told no.
200.
I mean,
that was the day.
But if you, let me tell you another little nugget too. Do you know anything about this, Carmen, as well? But like she said, if you get in social services or any kind of aid from the state, do you know that they will come after you for child support, whether the mother wants to or not? Carmen, you mute. Go ahead.
The state will initiate child support because if they're giving any type of aid to the parent, whether it's the reduced child care fees, they're paying money towards child care, or for whatever the mom gets, the state is going to try and recoup that money from the other parent, because it's both parents' jobs at the end of the day to take care of that child. So if the state has to step in and contribute to the care of that child, and then they're going to sit up there and the other parent isn't paying child support or not on child support, the state's going to recoup that money from that non-custodial parent, or as much of it as possible. So if the mom doesn't pursue child support, the state will, and the state's going to collect. So if they're paying the mom $400, but all they can get from the father is $200, they're going to collect that $200 as long as they're sitting there paying the mom.
And this is the thing, you guys, this is something that I think men can educate other men or young men on, because us as women telling a young guy, they don't want to hear it. It's most guys, when they get about 18, they don't really want to listen to women. Eventually they'll come around when they need them. But that's just the normal reaction. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. A lot of young men really just don't want to take advice or listen to women. And sometimes they good to go, and most times they not. But I would say educate the young men that when you got a woman that works, that's who you want as your baby mama. You got a woman that's getting aid from the state, whether it's Medicaid, food stamps, welfare, you going to court. It don't always be the mother taking the guy to court. It's the services she getting. Even if she just getting Medicaid, because we all got to have health care now. You get that Medicaid, that man going to court because they trying to figure out why one of y'all motherfuckers ain't got medical for your kid. Why do the state have to pick up that tab? And that ain't fair to the state. That's how they looking at it. So to the guys who keep picking these women, and I say to the guys who pick these women as baby mamas, because the mama picking these guys who are derelict, who have shown you they derelict. They on their third or fourth baby mama, and they ain't take care of the ones before. You guys make these decisions, you're doing it at your own apparel. But a lot of times being dragged into court on child support have a lot to do with what that woman is receiving from the state, rather than her just saying, I'm gonna take his ass to child support. Go ahead,
Excuse
buddy.
me. Do you remember when we had the show where we asked what do the person have to bring to the table?
Yeah, that was one I heard.
Basically, that's what the Will did with he brought a lot to the table.
Mhm.
As far as being a great guy, but
Mhm.
to his son.
Yeah, and a lot of guys
when
can
you
be.
said something about 1, 2, 3, 4, my daughter was the 4th. Now, far as him, he had issues. Did I know about it when I got pregnant? I did not. Did I love him? I did. Did I give him the benefit of the doubt? I did. Did I believe that 14, 16 to 16 years that, things were going to change? I hoped and prayed for it. And when when it came to like showing me how responsible he can be, he failed me.
Mhm.
He failed me. And that is what women do not want in relationships when it comes to either having a family or having a person to be able to be there for them with the child. You don't have to be together to be partners and to take care of your kids. Shoot, hell, when you start a relationship, you test it, right? So when you build it, you hope for the best, right? So when a child come out the situation, you're supposed to be the best that you could be for that child.
Point blank, period. I think all of us, when we get with our significant others, us getting with the men in our life, men getting with the women in their life, I swear, I don't think we see this other side of the equation. If we did, I'm sure we would make a different choice, because you couldn't have paid me to think that my daughter's father was going to act the way he acted. I was highly shocked. What about you, Carmen?
So I'll say there's a saying, and it's kind of funny. So there's no one dumber than a deadbeat's daddy new girlfriend.
What?
And there's nobody dumber than a deadbeat father's new girlfriend. Because the deadbeat father is going to have every excuse why he's not a part of the child's life. And usually 9 times out of 10, it's, oh, the baby mama makes it difficult, not letting me see the kid, this, that. It's a ton of excuses. When you're young and dumb, you believe this stuff because oh, this person's interested, they talk about the kid, whatever else. And you want to believe that because you don't want to believe that somebody has a child that doesn't take care of them. Mm-hmm. Once you get a little wiser, you got to be able to see through that bullshit and know if a guy sits there and says he's not a part of the child's life because the mom is making it difficult and he's not actively in a court process to change it, walk away, because he is not trying to do anything for the child. The reason he's not in that child's life is because of him. So I think sometimes women turn a blind eye, or you get some women that flat out do not care because it's not their child, so they don't care.
And that's sad, because when you that woman, and I see a lot of that, because like you said, they in love too. I try to put myself in their shoes, but I'd be like, the same thing he do to you, he gonna do to her.
Yeah.
But she just don't
That's
know it
why.
yet. And then what you just said, something about the deadbeat. Say that saying again. That nothing dumber.
There's no one dumber than a deadbeat's father's new girlfriend.
Okay, yeah, the girl. Listen, if you wasn't there, I'm talking to all the ladies. If you wasn't there when whatever was goings on, then you have to be quiet. I would say shut the fuck up, but you have to be quiet because he gonna have a story, she gonna have a story. No matter what you see while you with him, you're not ever gonna see what actually transpired. And so my thing would be fall back. What you gonna say, Butter?
Well, you know, there were a lot of women. Well, I take that back. Only one that won. The other one tried it. Either one of them, they ain't want it. But you know, she continuously stay on my phone, and you know, during the process of co-parenting my son, continued, you know, try to harass me. I mean, it was crazy. You know, it was crazy.
You want to say her name? I'm just joking.
I
remember her. I said, you want to say her name? I remember her.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say her name now because I've seen a little hookup before. I mean, recently and stuff. She speaks. It is what it is. I mean, but we're grown. But during the time of my son being, or her being with my son's father and being hateful, I remember one time, I think he might have did weekend time or something for driving. I'm not sure. But she brought the Pampers. Because that is what we had in order. She brought the Pampers because I don't buy no Pampers. So either she got the text or got something, or maybe I sent it to her sister, like, hey, Louise, need Pampers. All I know is she knocked on my door, but, you know, she probably had a little balls because I had whooped her tail twice. So, you know, she probably said, hey, let me bring this Pampers because I don't want to get it again. But, you know, she brought the Pampers. And it's crazy because that's petty for me to say it like that. But after all that I had went through with her, it took for, you know, her to manipulate me, for me to have to hurt her and take her to court for harassing me, and winning in court and still have that paper because they said my assault and battle with bare hands.
And this was before cell phones, y'all. This is old school phones, landlines. I remember that. I was in high school. I was like, God damn, the girl. She
I
blew
didn't
that
do
phone
nothing to that
up.
chick. So when you say Carmen, the females kind of like get hateful. At the end of the day, it was all that estrogen too because we were young. I think I was like, you know, maybe about 21, 22. You know, because I think the Will was like 3 years old. But at the end of the day, the resolve of the situation was that he continued to be there for my son, whether he was behind bars or not, for whatever he did. He wasn't a bad guy. So it had to be for license or something. But he was good.
He was.
He was real good.
I love her baby daddy. Her son's baby.
We
her son's
right
daddy.
now he calls me and be telling me, I see somebody up here in Colorado that looks just like you. Or remind me of you. I said, boy, stop reminiscing. He don't be reminiscing, but it be just things that reminds him of me. I don't know what that is, but we trip, we have fun, we talk about old times. We are like best friends. I mean, he get along with my male companions. He's just cool. He's a sweetheart.
What did that girl do?
Did he ever get mad? Have we ever had arguments? You know, did we ever go through craziness? I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I ain't got to go through all that. But overall, the good outweigh the bad.
What did she say or do? Because Butter had this thing. If you say something in reference to her son, if you, it don't even have to be nothing. You could just use an article in the word.
I
What she
had
say?
called the phone for him, and she wouldn't let me speak to him. And she said she was just playing on the phone, and she told me, she said, the next time he bring that baby over here, I'ma smack him. So,
She
and
said
I
that.
told her I was gonna speak. I said, oh yeah. And she said, "You with your ugly alien looking baby." I said,
Oh,
"Well, you're
that's what it
fucking the
was that I
king of the
remember.
yeah." I said,
Yeah.
"Well, you're fucking the king of the aliens, and he looks just like him." So
Sure did, twins. Yeah. No,
you know,
you
I
couldn't
mean,
say that
did
baby
did
to butter.
one time I had won a contest at a club, and then she told me, she said, "Oh, I heard you won that contest." She said, "What you had to win the money for what she said." She said, "What you had to win the money to feed your baby with your dick sucking ass?" I said, "No, I had to win. I had to win that money so I can fix your teeth, bitch."
My bad.
But
I
she
put it
just
on
used to
mute.
come. She used to just come, just be coming for me, coming for me. I have never known nobody to ring a telephone over 30 to 40 times. If you don't answer it, it constantly rings. Before we even had answer machines, constantly. You pick it up, hang it up, hang it up. She ring, 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 ring.
Now,
Girl,
now, should or not do we place blame on a non-custodial parent? Now, a non-custodial parent could be a woman or a man. In this country, it
and
is mostly men who let their next, like Carmen said, a new girlfriend, get in the
but
way of them being a
he never
father.
knew about it. He and he was in the blind. She was doing it behind his back until we got star 69. And when we
Yes.
got star 69, she had called me from her mother phone. Her mother ended up, getting after her because we were still young, so mothers can do that.
I remember that.
Getting after her, for doing it, and told her, said, you lying because they was able to star 69. But like I said, when I tore her tail up at that park, she took me to court, but I won. I twisted it a little bit. I said she threw a Tropicana bottle out. She did throw the bottle out. I said it hit me in my knee, and I just walked up and grabbed my son little cookies in a rental wrap and hummed it through the window and just went through the car and just did what I did. Do I think that while I'm talking about it, it's something to gloat about? No, but it's triggering me because those type of people that because I wasn't like that. My daughter father had three other kids. They called me Sean Sean. They called me Sean Sean because they one of them called me mom. They want to call me mom, and they still to this day. I met one when he was 8, the other one when she was 4, and the other one no 3, and the other one when she was 2, and I was pregnant with mine. And those children still idolize and love me to this day. And their daddy got a new girlfriend. So, and they were like, "That's not my mom. You my mom." So I'm not
Hmm.
that other chick that condone a, a deadbeat father to not to be there for their kids. In my relationship now, even at this, I never been in a relationship with anybody um who kids didn't like me. So it's hard to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Because they love their mom, and they older, so they already older. But I have earned the respect from them, and I've been with their father for the last 5 years, in which, like Thanksgiving, I was able to be around them and family, and they kept the peace and they were very respectful because they are good kids, but they still love their mom, and I get it. I get it. I was a child who couldn't understand, the situation with my dad. But it wasn't because I didn't want to respect, because my mother taught us how to respect people. But when certain things are showed to me, and we try to reach out to our, our parents, and we need them to listen to us, either you're gonna be one of those children that act out to get attention, or you're gonna be one of those children to just, be respectful and mindful of a situation and just grow from it to grow into it. And that's what happened with me and my dad and his girl.
So, like, in the end of the day, if you're a parent, you have to just be a parent to your kid. Carmen, are you? I know you said with your ex-husband, but your previous before that, are you able to like with your son's siblings or your middle one's siblings? Are you?
No, I don't have anything to do with the kids after. So I know, like for my ex, the one I had kids with, I talked to the mother once because she called with something, and that's part of the reason, ain't nobody dumber than a deadbeat father, new girlfriend. She called for something, and that was because he tried sliding in my DMs. And she wanted to come after me with some stuff, and I politely told her that I'm the one who divorced him. If I wanted him, she wouldn't be with him right now. She has a son by him, whatever. Her mentality is off kilter.
It's not worth it.
It's not. She's one of those that's all about money. She's very hood mentality. Just it's just
not on your level.
She's definitely she's not anybody I would ever associate with whatever else. My ex has a son with her. The son doesn't come around. I don't have anything to do with my ex. He'll slide in my DMs, every now and then trying to get back, and it's consistent no. And I've changed, and I told him I don't care how much you changed. The answer is no. And if you think I'm ever going to be with somebody who didn't take care of their kids, hell no.
Never. Can't even smell it again.
Yeah. And she got upset. So I've met the boy once, and it, was fine. Everything else, he went out because he actually came down to South Carolina with his grandmother, with my ex's mom. And I still have a good relationship with everybody in the family except for him.
Now, but if you see the little boy, you ain't gonna,
Yeah, no. I'm not gonna. I don't treat him any different. But as far as relationship stuff, no. My daughter doesn't have a relationship with her brother. In fact, there's a lot of tension because her father will post up pictures, with him and his son and everything else, and it makes her feel some type of way because to this day he's not even trying to mend the relationship on her terms. He's not trying to make amends for it. He's not posting her up. He's not trying to do for her. She's in college now, but he's not sitting there calling her, what do you need? Can I get you this? Can I get you that? She called and asked for something for one of her art classes. He had every excuse in the book why he couldn't do it, but then turned around and got his son an iPad and some new shoes. So
and for the record, fellas, a lot of guys, I think, and y'all tell me if I'm off, I think that a lot of times the men know how they deal with women. And I think when it comes to their daughters, they think that, because after all, she's a woman too. But I'm going to tell you, it don't work. It don't work. There's a difference in your daughter and father relationship versus how you deal with women in general. Like, oh, I'm good. I can spit that game. She going to fall. No. These daughters these days. What about your son, Carmen?
My son doesn't talk to his father at all. His father reaches out to him periodically, see how he does, everything else. My son has anger for his father not being there, not having, a big enough, trying to be there for him, taking advantage of seeing him and everything else. My son's 22 now, and I told him, I was like, people make mistakes. And I've tried, the whatever else. I'm like, look, because my son's asked, I'm like, the only issue I have with your father at this point is I don't care that he and I didn't work out. It's the not being there. Because I've seen the pain that it caused my children. Mm-hmm. So that's the part that I have issue with.
That's the part you don't.
And he's like reached out to my son, trying to make amends with him, everything else. My son doesn't want to hear any of it. Doesn't want to do time of day, won't give him the time of day, won't return phone calls, anything else. And I've told my son, people can change, people can realize their mistakes. If he is honestly trying to make amends with you and make things right, give him a chance. And
boys look at things differently. Boys not as forgiving that's not a bad thing. It's just how we design. I just think like boys right away, like it's no time to waste to mend the fence. Well, girls, you can split the game just a little bit. But all you gotta do, listen, if you do not practice being a good dad, you won't be.
Yeah.
That ain't nothing you can
Mm.
just turn on. You have to do. You can't practice that. You can't say, "Oh, when they get 23, I'm gonna be the more better dad to an adult child. I'm gonna flip the switch." It does not work that way. Because the same way you ignored them for life and took them for granted, you will keep doing that. And so for me, I have to take. I was there when I took my kid to Disney World. I never forget it, and it moves me to this day. I'm trying to fulfill what I promised. I took her to Disney World. She was 5. She was going on 6. And we was at the military little setup down there. We was having a good time. We was in the pool. And it was nighttime. The water was nice, everything. And she see this little girl playing. So she goes over there and they playing together. Then the father comes out of nowhere. This guy, I don't know who he is, a white guy. I don't know who this white guy is. Shout outs to him. I don't know your name, but if you were ever watching this, he be like, I remember her. But anyway, he got in the pool and he's playing with his daughters. He had 2 kids. He's playing with them. And my daughter looked at me and she looked at him and she looked at me. And I swear the tear that welled up in her eyes. And without even saying nothing, I knew exactly what she was thinking. And I started I had the mouse running around in the little circle thing in my head, trying to figure out, okay, what I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna do, how can I fix the situation? Because you can preoccupy kids real quick with something else. And before I could like, come on, Bree, let's get out, let's go get some ice cream or something like that, he started saying, come here, and he was daddy for that hour. He was daddy. He treated her the same way he treated his kid. And all 3 of them girls had fun. And I looked at him and I was like, thank you. Like under my breath, he was like, no problem. He knew. And I knew. But that well up, see, and every time if her father said, well, give me a break. I'm tired. Can you hook me up? I can't. I cannot. That's here. I can't. Because that can move me. Or that's just one incident. So many incidents. Father and daughter dance. To the point that my daughter called me her mufter, if that makes sense. Mother and father. She said that when she was a little girl. So it's important, like, for you to show up in your kid's life. A woman cannot make you be that type of man. That is something a man had. That's his own journey, and that's between him and God and that kid. But finances, you are equally responsible. One of y'all said equal yoke. I believe in that. Equal yoke. You are equally responsible. And the only way you lose your standing in your kid's life is because you did that. Nobody, I don't believe that nobody can all the way keep you from your kids. I just don't believe that, because I know as a parent, I know for a fact nobody can ever keep me from my kid. Even if they won in court, no way, no how. I'm gonna see my kid and she gonna know I'm her mama. I'm gonna be a direct presence in her life. And I think you all feel that way too. But any like final thing, like as far as child support, I know that Carmen said she think it's necessary. Butter, do you think that child support should be something that they still do, or you think that they should change it up in any kind of way?
Of course, child support is a must. I mean, what can you do I mean, if they didn't have that in place?
Mm,
What is there to do if they didn't have that in place?
that's true. That's true. Because you can't make. There's ways to make a person, like if we don't pay our car note or we don't pay our mortgage, they can take us to court, put liens on us. Every time we don't pay somebody can have a remedy to come get their money out of us. Okay,
But
but
then repossess them no good, baby daddy. Repossess.
what you say?
Repossess them.
repossess them. I don't think it worked like that. But I mean, that's all. And fellas, see, that wasn't a bad conversation about child support. I've always wanted to talk about that because there's so many things. What I want the fellas to walk away. This is something y'all should definitely tell a young man in your family and your
My
sons.
God.
Child support don't go away.
No.
It will never go away. It's like that student loan, number one. If your woman is on aid from the state, the courts are coming at you. You can beg her not to, but she ain't got no control over it. Trust me, I know this for a fact. And even Carmen echoed that, and I know Butter know that. So the trick is to pick a baby mama that ain't gonna be running to get on food stamps, welfare, and Medicaid. Because if she want, and all of us can fall in our life where we have to seek that type of aid out. So I don't know how, I can't even tell you how to better choose, but that's something you just got to think about. If your baby mama gets on those things, maybe you gotta take a second job because they gonna come at you. They gonna get their money, and they'll fight harder to get their money rather than to fight harder than to get the money for the child. That's just my experience. Just what I've seen and whatnot. But see, we had a civilized conversation. We ain't beat nobody up. Did we, Carmen? Did we?
Nope.
We ain't beat nobody up. Some of them got quiet over there in the chat. But I did want to bring up this one little thing. I don't know if it's gonna be a long conversation.
I know I want to say one thing though before you
Okay.
move on, because you gave the advice to guys to pursue and how important it is.
Okay.
I think an equal message needs to be towards the women that use their kids as pawns. If they don't get whatever, they can't see the child. Quit making it hard for your child's father to be a part of that child's life.
Yes.
Stop interfering with it. Your child is not a pawn. He didn't want you. He moved on. Who cares? Get over it. Move on. Who he's with, what he's doing with his free time is none of your business. Exactly. Let him be a part of his child and enable that relationship. Because in the end, when that child is grown, the truth's going to come out. And the only person you damage in that situation is your child. You're going to hurt the guy for a little bit, but you're going to damage your child.
Don't use the kid as pawn either side, but especially women, because I do see women doing that too. But they hurt people. Butter, you want to add something?
Just step up and do the right thing, fellas and women. Ladies, gents, that's all. That's basically all. You need to do is just step up and do what's right for your kids.
Yeah. Remember the 3 principles: food, shelter, and clothing. If you're not providing that, then you're not taking care of your kid financially. And now you can add medical and dental and eye stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we, not just a man, women too, you are responsible for that. Both. So some kind of way come together and make all that shit happen. And fair exchange is no robbery. But so I watched today, and I probably should have saved it for the weekend, but I watched Women of the Movement. Has anybody seen that shit?
Mm-mm.
Do y'all know what it is? It's on Hulu, and it's about Mamie Till and Emmett Till. Has anybody in the chat seen that? Ooh. Has anybody ever seen Mississippi Burning?
Yeah.
You remember that, Butter?
I don't remember.
I got that feeling watching this one, Women of the Movement, the same way I got the feeling of Mississippi Burning. I will implore all of y'all to go watch that. I think that shit was tastefully done. I could do without all the commercials. It's on Hulu because you be on the edge of your seat the whole time I'm watching it. I'm scouring, but I am a historian, so I know it's important to be able to look at something today that went on back then and try to have a reasonable take on it. You know what I'm saying? We know how we are today and how we could feel today if something like that happened. But back then it was different. And if there's something to say, I hate to use the word amazing, but what I find amazing or remarkable about this story, not that it ever happened, but the straw that broke the camel's back for white folks who felt that way back then was the the Brown versus the Board of Education, that decision, because that happened the year before. That was a bridge too far for white folks back then. I'm not having an opinion saying they was right to feel that way. I'm just saying this was a bridge too far. I mean, a lot of shit got organized. Them motherfuckers drew a line in the sand, and subsequently that shit was bound to happen. They were talking about the whole year before. They were talking about beware of people coming from places like New York, Chicago, all this stuff. You could read that in some of the books, old history books or whatever. They were already preaching that shit before he got down there. And what them people was able to do and get away with, and the miscarriage of justice, the whole time my heart is just pulling. And Emmett Till is what started the civil rights. So the year before, Brown versus the Board of Education was the line in the sand for white folks that felt that way back then. And Emmett Till was our line in the sand for, no, we can't keep going through this shit. Hell no. Now, subsequently, after Emmett Till, a whole lot of people died. Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, a whole lot of people died. But 1955, August 28th or something like that, Emmett Till, that shit that happened to him, that was an atrocity. And that movie was done in good taste. It's one of those, I call it a movie, but it's like a series. It's like 3 parts or whatever, 3 or 4 parts. I can only watch that shit once. Only one time. But I will tell you guys, if y'all haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on Hulu. What you laughing at, Carmen?
Nothing. Text message on the side.
I'm like, I hope she ain't laughing at the damn.
No. Text message on the side.
Okay, girl, shit.
Text message on the side.
Okay, I'm about to cut Carmen now.
No.
That shit wasn't funny.
No.
It was just, and the bravery it took for those people to testify. That's what I find remarkable. Like sometimes you will get to a point in your life where you just got to stand up. And we in the boxing world, we know, I ain't gonna say it's not similar, but Terrence Crawford filed a lawsuit, and people got to be brave. But people are starting to, or have acted how they did back in the day, which I guess we call them coons. George Foreman. Well, Massa was good to me. And everybody who came out, even Tim Bradley, Massa was good to me. Well, we're not talking about what Massa did to you. We talking about what Massa did to Bud Crawford. So, I mean, this is, oh my God. Just watch that. I think everybody should know that story. It started a movement. And we are here where we are today, but not for that. So, anybody else got something else to add? That's about all I had to say. Watch it, Carmen.
I'm gonna watch it. Well, is it on anything else besides Hulu?
I think it's I don't know. I think it's Hulu, but it was on TV because it got commercials. So I don't know where you can find it. Butter.
I don't know. You say on Hulu?
It's on Hulu. You ain't got Hulu, Carmen?
No, I don't.
Do you have? See, I don't want to say it's on Netflix. I don't know where else it could be.
Prime?
What'd you say?
Amazon Prime.
I haven't checked, but it could be because sometimes stuff be on Hulu that be on there. You got Amazon Prime, Carmen?
Yeah, I do.
It came on TV. What channel? I don't know. But if y'all have The Man, you can probably search the channels that it might have came on TV because it has commercials. That's why I know that it came on TV before. It was a TV miniseries. And after each episode, there's an equivalent documentary. But the name of the whole biopic movie is Women of the Movement. And it's basically talking about Mamie Till and everything she went through pretty much from her perspective. But they show everything. And then the documentary, like for episode 1, they have a documentary for that. And then for episode 2, they have a documentary for that. And then for episode 3, like that. So the documentary is good information too. A lot of people don't know that on that lady's deathbed, she came out and told the truth.
Yep.
You know, little too late, she got to live her life. But I don't know what kind of life she had. It could have been a tumultuous life. And I know people like, oh, Miss C, she should have got this, she should have got that. She had to walk around with that shit. She didn't stay with that dude neither. She divorced him. I'm not giving her a pass. But you know, she couldn't look over her shoulders in peace. Her kid's name is like mud. You know, everybody who was involved back then. So I don't know. I'm sure when they got to heaven, God took care of all that or whatever, if you believe that. But it's just a miscarriage of justice all the way. But that's how things used to be. When y'all think about Eisenhower sending troops down to let that little girl, that little black girl, go to school. All that shit was happening after the fact. And the biggest problem with that Brown versus Board of Education decision was the fact that they basically desegregated the schools. And the South was like hell to the Nizal. That's the line they drew in the sand. So all of that started from there. Then the killing of murdering of Emmett Till, which started the civil rights movement. If you could do a child like that, you got that much hatred over skin. But I'm gonna let it go because I get.
I mean, they were doing kids like that even before Emmett Till, though, too. It's just the evil of them.
Yeah, they used to use toddlers.
Yeah, it's alligator bait down there.
Alligator bait for centuries in this country.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. It tugged at me from a mother point of view. I don't think Mamie Till ever had no kids. She lived to be like 81. And the white lady who got on the stand, she lied about what all that he said. But they wasn't going to convict her. And then one of the guy, you can even see the old documentaries, he was smirking. When I tell you they done this movie in good taste, it was damn near a good replica. Because in the documentaries, you'll see the fat guy with the bald head smiling and smirking and shit. He was doing that in this movie too. But you be like, nigga, what's funny? You know, but the kids, they didn't want nobody bothering them or their mothers. Their children at that time were little, but I know they went on to have more kids. But they didn't want their mama to go through nothing. But before she died, she let it be known. Nobody took her to court, sent her to jail neither.
I hope she burned in hell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you guys have fun. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. This is a good talk. Guys, I want y'all to see we didn't go crazy or ham with the child support. I know my boy Demetrius like, I'm out of here. Deuces. We was cool. All of us was cool. You can have those kind of talks. What's up, butter? Yeah, one of them got up out of here, butter, before my boy. He was like, oh, no, this is a touchy subject. I got to go. But you see, we all fun-loving. We happy to this day. Ain't you happy, Carmen?
I'm happy. I'm always happy.
Girl, I ain't doing no running the mill day by day mothering. I'm happy. You happy, butter?
I'm good.
You see what I'm saying? We made it through.
My kids are grown. Good.
Ain't no Pampers.
They won't trying to
get daycare bills. Now I got college tuition and supplies.
I ain't even doing that. What'd you say, butter?
They weren't trying to get on here and be debating about that. He was right. That's a touchy subject, you know. We ain't beating up no men. We ain't beating them up. We talked about our own circumstances.
Yeah, we all three of us got stories to tell. Let me tell you. Now we could be bitter, but if you bitter, that's another thing. If you bitter, you bitter. People bitter till they get closure. I don't, man or woman, you bitter, you bitter. It's a crippling word these days. Like, oh, you bitter. So you can't be bitter. You can't be upset. Is it upset or bitter? You can be upset about some shit going down, but shit, I did what I was supposed to do. I was called to action. I met the call. I follow the assignment. How they say it now? I followed the assignment. We
I
followed the
understood the
assignment.
assignment.
Understood the assignment. There you go, Butter. But and I want to say shout out to Butter. She turned 27 yesterday.
Happy
But
birthday.
How was your birthday, Butter?
it was peaceful. I had to relax. I really did. I had to relax. That's it. But I got so many calls. I was like, well, these eyes won't stay open. But I just relaxed. I took off yesterday and I just relaxed. But can I turn up this weekend? We'll shall see.
Are you gonna turn up?
If it don't snow, I sure will.
Okay. We like to
And I
thank
might be in
God for
Atlanta the
letting Butter.
weekend of the,
Huh?
I might be in Atlanta the weekend of the 29th.
Mm, okay. She'll be over there next. Give Carmen a call.
Yeah, let me know.
I'm gonna chill with my son. We're
Yeah, she
going
gonna
to
stay with
my
us.
a friend of mine is having a Jamaican party, so
Oh.
and he lives in Atlanta, so I'm going to that party.
Well, we thank God for letting Butter see another year. Carmen, you up
Yes,
next? No, April up next. Who else? We know. April's up next, and then Carmen. And somebody has said in the chat, Carmen or Karma. It's both.
Yeah, you do both.
I
It
be,
doesn't matter.
I be fucking up. It was Karma on here, but I was calling her Carmen.
It's
But then
fine.
they was real good with not calling me by my real name. So my name. So I feel bad because I fucked up everybody's name. Remember I did Des, and she was saying her name was I forgot what she said, and I kept saying Des,
where is
Des.
this?
I don't
Where is
even
this?
know. Now Des claims she look at this show. I don't know where she at. Incognito. I don't know what she doing, but I don't know, Des. I send a text all the time.
Don't be showing off, this.
Yeah, she
Don't be
been
too sure. Don't show off.
incognito. So
You
Des, where
better
you
come
at?
on through.
Pretty soon, my homegirl Angie will come through when she get a moment and all that. So y'all are like Angie and all that. But okay, D Ray said, uh, Mac Dice of the South salute Macadosh. Anywho, y'all, I ain't gonna hold y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget that I have a wellness show on Sunday at 1300. I rehash and rehash and rehash. We get to talk about recipes. You know what I just taste, you guys? Sweet potato and 2 Honey Crisp apples juice. It's an acquired taste because I'm used to eating sweet potato the way I like. But if you used to eating yams and sweet potato pie and shit, you can bake your sweet potato and use marshmallows and sweeten
Yes,
it up that
marshmallows.
way.
Yes, marshmallows, pineapples. Yes. Apple. I put apples in mine.
Yeah, and you don't have to add sugar. You know what I'm
You don't
saying?
have
So, Carmen, you got any ideas on that one?
I'll heat up a sweet potato and just eat it like that out the door for breakfast. So it don't matter to me.
With nothing on it.
Yeah.
Girl, you fooling. For real.
Yeah.
Shit. I can tell you one thing. I don't know about what it do for everybody else, but it be clearing me the hell out. What about y'all?
I ain't try to pay attention to that.
I'm just saying. That's why I eat it once a year. To have it as a regular staple at least once a week in my life.
Me, that's how I am with my chicken livers, thanks to my mom.
Yeah. How was that?
Awesome, as always.
Y'all ain't send me a plate in the mail.
It will probably be old and throwing some
Mhm.
things in the mail.
Now I know that there was one last time we was all here. I can't remember what week that was, and I put the picture up because they was like, Miss T, was it Destiny was here, and y'all was saying something about. She said you was with you was with us, Spanish guy, white guy, and I was like, yeah, I date outside my race sometimes. I haven't as of late in the last, I don't know, 15, close to 20 years, but I did. No problem. Ain't the right comment. Ain't no problem. But I did want to show y'all this. That's a young TT with my Spanish bow. Back in the day, I was like 22 years old. Don't we look like kids?
Yep.
Like real young. But as I was saying, a man is a man. Anywho, I hope everybody cool with that. So, but then again, I don't care. I gotta do what I gotta do. But anywho,
No,
what you say, Butter?
no, I was telling Sure to stop it.
The doggies. So when y'all know better, you do better. Please don't forget to watch that show. They did a great job. I must admit, I know, I know more about the story from reading and how whatever I read, how they depicted it. Excellent job. So check it out. And then check out it said, Let Them See. I think that's the name of the documentary, something like that. Let Them See, because her famous words, "Let the world see what they did to my boy." So check those things out. All right. Well, peace. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.